Talking shop with the boss in the box. Talking shop with the boss in the box. Talking shop with the boss in the box. Hey, what's up, man? How are you doing, Lunchbox? So we're at another riveting beginning, with the intro messing up and not centering on the screen to who knows what else. We're trying out all sorts of new features here, and things just kind of get messed up along the way. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but we were a little unprepared, and you know what? Our little background here, we actually have comments that you can view.
No shit. Yeah, I did notice that.
On the screen now. And I was a little unprepared because I didn't know how it was going to look. I didn't know what was going to happen. But we have text on the screen from you awesome people listening. So cool. I'm trying to center this thing, make it look all nice. But unfortunately, we have our big gaudy background supplying the backdrop for our podcast in the way of all these texts. So, I mean, I could take it away. It just wouldn't look as cool. I mean, look at that. It's not as cool.
No.
No.
And then, like, the text, like, it's not, like, I can't see it past our giant heads.
Yeah. How about that one? Can you see that one?
Oh, wait. No, there's Jordan saying yay.
All right. So I think it's just one at a time. Yay, hugs, okay. Oh, the beauty of video. This is awesome.
Woo!
But I think we need our background back.
Oh, and now I can see it. Like,
you know, let's see. Let's put it right in the box here. The box with the box. Okay, let's do that. Also, if you hadn't noticed, right here, right smack in the middle of the top of the background. That's right. We have a tip jar. We have these awesome individuals, Leilani, Joanna, hello, Mike Vanek, and various others who have been giving us little tips through Venmo. You could actually also tip us through this link that I'm going to give you right now. So I'm going to throw this right in the chat, and you guys could actually use that to tip us. And when you tip us, it will actually make a little jingle in the jar, you know.
Now, Brandon, I must apologize, but you're committing a little bit of bad form here.
Oh, okay.
You jumped out the gate complaining about technical difficulties and shilling for money before you opened with, "What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 92 of Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. I am one half of your humble heavyweight co-host duo, the Lunchbox." That is one word, ladies and gentlemen. Capital L, capital B. I can't do a B with my hands. Thank you very much. Joined as always by my badass, bigger brethren of bullshit, bugging out, badassery, and bitch-assness, Brandon the Boss Blacker.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. And with me, as always, I have the capital LB himself, as he introduced himself, because I am not great at introductions. But what I am good at is graphics.
You are phenomenal at graphics. But, and the new intro, the new intro is great. I noticed it was off-center, but that didn't bother me because it showed more of our guests than it did us. And, you know, Aaron Moore is a much more handsome man than either you or I. Mike Vanek is a compelling personality, and I'm not going to say he's better looking than us because that's bullshit, but he's funny, even in look. But the best one was watching Papo Esco, big as fuck in the middle of the screen, and you could read his lips clear as day with that middle finger just being all, "Fuck you."
You know, Mike. Speaking of Mike Vanek, he's like, "There's a lag." Well, there's always a lag, Mike Vanek. It's either that or you're high as hell.
He could already be high as hell. I'm also mildly upset that you decided to put the comments over my head instead of yours.
Well, let's see. Let's try that. Let's take a look at this.
It's as you like to say when I think our show was garbage the night before, Brandon. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Wait, I just lost it. Where did he?
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, no, nobody's commenting. That's why I lost it. Okay. But as I was saying, if you look in the comments, there's a little link, streamlabs.com/talkingshopwiththebossandthebox. You could actually go and make a donation, and when you do that, the little tip jar will jingle. So let's get some jingling going. But with that being said, we are back for episode 92 to talk about our bread and butter, the birth of our brethren, the premature ejaculation of what this show was about, and that is pro wrestling. We are bringing it back to its origin, to our roots. My God, we got to talk about sweaty men in tights doing their thing once again. I swear it's been 400 episodes since we last talked real wrestling. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hear about things, your opinion on things. I'm excited to hear about what we're going to talk about later in the program. Who is the greatest pro wrestler to never hold a world title?
That's right, and we kept it to the two major organizations. Brandon pushed for WWE, WWF only. I said it would only be fair to throw WCW/NWA in there. We debated between ECW and being allowed in, and we went ahead and said ECW original, no. WWECW, fair because it counts as a WWE title, and at the time it was a big belt.
That's right.
But
wait, I must interrupt you.
Okay.
We have just been gifted $20 by Joanna. Thank you very much, Joanne.
Madam J, I salute you. And if all this is going to revolve around I have to do something fucked off on stage when you guys get back to Bunnying, count me in.
I wonder if I can manually make this thing jingle. Let's see. Wait, where'd it go? No, apparently I can't. I guess it only jingles when you do it on the link that is provided, unfortunately. But regardless, you still get the same exact reaction. So thank you so much, Joanne. You're keeping us poor schmucks in business online and keeping the podcast paid for.
Right, you guys have definitely been helping us pay the bills these last couple weeks. Joanne, you have been helping us with that. And of course, Brandon, get ready to throw that graphic up there because we cannot get our show kicked off without bringing up our one and only official sponsor of Talking Shop with the Boss and Box. Ladies and gentlemen, for all your financial literacy, financial planning needs, you need to contact Leilani Mosinske. That is LeilaniMosinske. Financial professional. You can contact her at 510-571-7215, or you can email her at Leilani, that is leilani.wfg@gmail.com, or you can contact her at www.wfgconnects.com, Leilonim. License number 0M14654. She will teach you about tax-free retirement planning, saving for a home, small business exit strategies, and budgeting, and all the other things that sadly are forgotten in our school system about financial literacy. We have already got her hooked up with some of the listeners on the show, and we appreciate all that she does for us, and we hope that you will go ahead and take utilization of her services and appreciate what she can do for you. Contact Leilani Mosinske for all your financial services needs.
Absolutely. And Mike Vanek calling you out in the chat. Mike, have you actually reached out to Leilani yet? And are you going to fund the Fat Cat in Modesto?
He has an appointment with her, and that may eventually lead to funding the Fat Cat. I believe it's going to be mostly utilized because Mike Vanek's beautiful wife has far too much money than she knows what to do with, and instead of spending it all on Mike Vanek, she needs to buy the Fat Cat and then gift it to me.
I mean, that would be a hell of a gift. It's what, $2 million, $1.7 million, something like that?
1.7.
Okay. I mean, half of that price is just the stage.
Most of that price is just the stage, but that's prime real estate in downtown Modesto, and commercial real estate, despite everything going on in California right now, is, I won't say at an all-time high, but it's nearing the top of where it was before the great crash of '08. So I'm just saying we could either wait it out or maybe, you know, she can just go ahead and hand it to me. But
okay, so Mr. Lunchbox, it's been so long. Are you ready to talk about sweaty men in Speedos wrestling in a ring that is square?
You know, I do apologize because it has been a long time since we've covered wrestling, and I will accept full responsibility for kind of shying away from that for two reasons. Number one, wrestling sucked for about half the year. Straight up. Like, between no crowds, everything going on with COVID, and just, you know, it wasn't engaging. And of course, you know, the passing of my mother earlier this year, I just didn't have much interest in anything that didn't involve work, the podcast, or the band. Mm-hmm. And of course, my lovely wife and son. So I've not been watching WWE as intently as need be, so you may have to walk me through some of the details. But, you know, we'll see what we can do on that regard. I am highly excited to get to our last topic because between Mike Vanek and any of the other passerby that may join us, I feel we can get some nice heated debates going.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. And yes, Jordan Harrison, this is your shout out. You are the #1 fan. Thank you very much. But before we get into sweaty men wrestling in a ring that is square.
Gotta play what you drink.
Absolutely. So today, I'll go first. Today, I'm drinking Jameson. That's right. No beer for me. Instead, I'm drinking my own concoction of a hot toddy.
2 hot toddies!
I'm drinking cinnamon black tea with honey, with an entire orange squeezed in, with I guess that's it. Honey, orange, cinnamon black tea, and Jameson. So, you know, I'm trying to get my voice to be crystal clear and very smooth for the ladies. So, and plus, I was a little worn down over the weekend, so I figured the nice tea and vitamin C buildup will just help me very nicely.
What he really means is he's trying to hope he sounds as good as his tag partner over here, because while Brandon handles the technical details, I am the golden voice of not only this show, but Blacklist Pro Wrestling.
Absolutely. So what are you drinking, man? Like you showed it, but you didn't tell us what you're drinking.
I went ahead and went with Kern River Brewing Co.'s Citra IPA, limited edition. Citrus, mango, and pineapple aromas abound, but make no mistake, there's no fruit here. Just a serious dry hop regimen of Citra and Amarillo hops. We put in just enough malt backing to balance out the flavor, but Citra Double IPA is as close as it gets to chewing on a hop vine. Enjoy this one fresh, at least while you can get your hands on it. By the way, this was canned less than 3 weeks ago.
Ooh.
I got the batch 3 days after it was canned. So, and this is my last one.
Jordan Harrison asks, do we like ginger? I'll tell you what, I love me some gingers. You know, the red, auburn, beautiful hair.
No, Brandon, she's not talking about them soulless bitches you're into. She's talking about the food.
Oh, I thought she was talking about pale, white, red-headed things. I like those.
So do I. One of my best friends is one as well. But as far as things go, depending on what it's utilized in, ginger can be overpowering. Those ginger Altoids are a fucking endurance test if you've never had them.
I have not had them, and they sound interesting.
They're good at first.
Mr. Mike Vanek, he is actually drinking a Youngling lager, much better than what you were drinking earlier, you pussy.
No, and now he's drinking hams too. And by the way, drinking the champagne of beers does not make you a pussy.
No, it makes you poor.
Yeah, but he's also drinking Younglings, and then he's got hams too. And Brandon, you're drinking Jameson, which, while I enjoy Jameson, it's not exactly high-priced whiskey. I have high-priced whiskey behind me.
It's one of the best tasting ones I've ever had, and I've had some pretty high-priced stuff.
I'm just saying, I'm sitting on Glenmorangie and Glenfiddich behind me, so...
Well, let's talk.
And Hellcat Maggie.
Well, let's talk about Glenn Jacobs and get into pro wrestling, shall we?
I didn't have Glenn Jacobs in my notes.
Yes, but Glenn Jacobs. So, and you know what? For you non-wrestling fans in the chat, we'll actually break it down for you as we're talking about what's going on in current day wrestling. We'll break it down for you so it's a little bit easier for you to understand, even if you don't watch it. So right now, in pro wrestling, I mean, we haven't touched on anything current in a long time, as we said. So I figure, you know, things have kind of picked up again storyline-wise. So our favorite bromance, Telenovela. Thank you. I don't speak Spanish.
You don't speak English overly well.
Oh, Joanna says, I worship at the altar of ginger. Okay. I'm about it. I'm a little ginger myself, but I'm going a little gray, so.
Yeah, I'm letting the beard grow out a little bit, and I noticed I'm a lot grayer than I thought I was. I blame 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
So which direction did you want to go? Do you want to start with WWE?
You know, yeah, sure. That's the most mainstream. Let's just get it out there. The biggest thing that has happened that I have absolutely popped for as a fan, that we've been all screaming for years, turn him heel, turn him heel, turn. Well, it finally happened. Roman Reigns. You know that guy who looks like Aquaman? Well, he's finally a bad guy, okay? He's finally,
and a pretty good one.
He's a great one, man. So his current run is basically he showed up, he was gone for months, and then he was like, you know what? I'm back. I'm a badass. I look like a badass, and you know I'm Samoan, so part of the Samoan family. So I'm gonna be the head of the table.
Hey, Brandon.
What?
Brandon, just for shits and giggles, how do you pronounce that family name?
Oh man. Anoi?
Oh, close on that first attempt, man. It's Anawai.
Anawai. Okay.
Kinda like Anawai. No, Wai.
Anawai.
Anawai. There's no H.
Anawai.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Anawai family, the legendary Anawai family, which has produced such superstars over the years as Alpha Sika, the great Rikishi, Yokozuna, just name a few. And maybe this little guy, you guys might have heard of him, Dwayne Johnson?
The Rock?
Anybody familiar with Dwayne Johnson? Little guy by the name of The Rock? All these and more.
So many more.
Yeah, so many more. I've had the pleasure of meeting the Tonga Kid, who's a really nice guy. I had the pleasure of meeting his son, who worked with the untouchable Najee Morgan, Jacob Fatu.
That's right.
Who, couldn't be a nicer guy, and him and Najee had a fucking stellar match, dude. One of the best local matches I've ever seen. Probably number 2 behind Toxic Trent and Shiloh Greaves.
Yeah,
both friends.
Yeah, and you know what? I also met Jacob Fatu as well. I actually met him at a comic book convention, which was hilarious. It was a bunch of toy collectors and comic booths, and then like all tucked into like a little corner. There's Jacob Fatu just like meeting people and signing autographs. Massive dude, couldn't have been nicer. I sat there.
Couldn't have been nice.
Yeah, I had like a 15-minute conversation with him, and he was like, "Oh, I guess I should talk to other people, but have a great day." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man."
Yeah. Like a super nice guy, him and his pops. Both really nice, humble dudes, very appreciative of all the support. But that's not what we're talking about. Now, Roman, in turning heel, is, like you said, head of the table, tribal chief, a little bit of the mafia don, as it were.
Yeah. It's like you're not fit to be a part of this family. And that's kind of like the storyline. So he's got cousins. They're called the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso. And they're twins. They look just like each other, et cetera, et cetera.
Sons of the great Rikishi.
That's right. And one of them's out with an injury. I believe that's Jimmy Uso.
Yes.
And Jey Uso has been holding down the fort, trying to prove Roman wrong, that he belongs in the family and that Roman doesn't belong at the head of the table. And it's good shit. And it's probably some of the, best storytelling that WWE has done in a couple years, in my opinion.
I'll co-sign that.
So, dude, we've been screaming for Roman Reigns to be a bad guy for years. He's been headlining WrestleManias. He's been a babyface. He's been, the guy that you just get sick and fucking tired of looking at because he's just been overexposed all the time in every segment, every show. He's
always at the top of the card, always in the show. And they invested a lot in him. They had commercials with him singing and playing with his daughter. Let's not forget his second bout with leukemia, where, he relinquished his title so he could go back and get treatment, and how with his compromised immune system, he sat out the first half of 2020 because he was at higher risk. Yep. So, like Brandon said, we've been watching this guy get booed while supposedly being the quintessential babyface, as they like to say, white meat as they come. And when he returns, he's at the side of the great Paul Heyman, who, if you're tied up with Paul Heyman, you're a jerk. Like, there's no better way to make sure everybody knows you're an asshole than by hanging out with an asshole like Paul Heyman.
I agree. And I think the Fiend has something to say about that.
Oh, yes, Fiend on the scene.
He's here, and he's haunting my house as we speak. He is...
Are you hiding him for Ben?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I go to point him out. He's still too young to really understand what's going on, but, like... I just got him today, so like I put him up in the corner, hanging up on some Christmas stuff. I'm like, look, it's the Fiend. The Fiend's on the scene. He's just like, so it's cute. It's cute.
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I thought Elf on the Shelf was even creepier, but I thought something more my style, more rock, more metal, more. Wrestling. And I'm also wearing a shirt too. If you can tell here, I got me a Firefly Funhouse shirt right here.
That's pretty sweet.
Nice Christmas edition. Okay, so anyways, Roman Reigns, bad guy. They have a really great story that they're still continuing. And Mike Vanek actually said something in the chat. Said good build-up to Roman versus The Rock at Mania. However, I have to add something to that, is that I don't think we're getting it. Here we are 3 or 4 months away from Mania, still no fans, still nothing, but now we have the inclusion of Bill Goldberg back in the picture, calling out Roman Reigns. And I am so not excited for that.
I would really enjoy if they went ahead and let Roman put him down. Yeah. Like, not just because I don't like Goldberg. I actually watched the Untold that they just put up on the network about the Goldberg streak. And it was actually really good.
Okay.
It was really, really good. Between Goldberg comes off like a total asshole throughout it. But Diamond Dallas Page is in there, and Kevin Nash is kind of the big dissenter on the show, and that was actually kind of a lot of fun. As far as things go, I don't see them using Goldberg for WrestleMania. I could see them using The Rock at WrestleMania just to show Roman who the real head of the table is.
But do you think we'll get that in a short 4 months' time with no actual build-up?
How is that? How is short? First of all, Brandon, it's not 4 months' time. It's 5 months' time. And secondly, the road to WrestleMania starts at the Royal Rumble at the end of January.
True. Very true. Jordan asks, what if I had a match with Roman? Roman would probably kick my ass, but...
Roman would assuredly kick your ass. Roman would kick both of our asses.
But
like, say what you... that's one of the things I will say, staying on topic.
Yes.
I enjoy what they're doing with Roman Reigns. I've actually been trying to start watching and being interested because it is compelling television. And it's a good fit. You know, like Brandon said, we've been asking for years for them to just go ahead and make him a heel. We're kind of tired of seeing him do the same thing. When the Shield broke up, he was brought over to the ultimate babyface, fighting for family pride, the all-around good guy, etc. And he sucked at it as far as his promos, as far as believing, outside of some of the cancer, you know, which was true. But outside of the reality of things, he just wasn't believable. However, as this head of the family Don, who's got a mean streak a mile wide, it's believable. And, you know, one thing I will say about Roman Reigns, his matches were all good quality. I mean, when you look at who he had to work outside of the Undertaker match, but when you look at all who he was working with those few years, Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, John Cena, the list goes on. Really tell me a bad blow-off match he had outside of Taker at Mania.
I can't.
You can't.
No.
But we were also sick to death of the act.
Wait.
So now to put him in the right act.
I got one.
Okay.
Anything he did with Baron Corbin.
The matches weren't bad.
Okay, I'll give you that. All right.
The matches were great.
I mean, other than countless times of them shoving dog food into their throats.
Okay. Now, I forgot about the dog food segment. That was about time I stopped watching. That was one of the reasons I stopped watching.
Yeah, man. So I guess we could both vote and say Roman Reigns in 2020. Good shit.
Yeah, keep it going.
Awesome.
And by the way, Jordan, yes, Brandon and I would both love to be special guest referees, commentators, ring boys, cameramen, or cable pullers at any of these big matches. Like,
I mean, I'd love to be somebody who like has to like strap in the female wrestlers into their gear. That would be fantastic.
Well, that would be the ideal job. But tell me, if you were offered any of the jobs I just listed, including cleaning the hockey boards or wiping dust off the screens at Thunderdome, that you wouldn't do it?
Oh, I'd absolutely do it. Hands
Thank you.
down. Oh man, so the link killed your tablet? I'm sorry, Joanna.
The link killed your tablet. Earlier you said that damn thing nearly killed... you had a typo. It said that damn thing nearly killed my table, and I was like, what?
I think it's... You know, I tested it the other day. It actually does work. I don't know what happened on your end. I am sorry about that. But thank you for still being here.
And donating.
And donating, yes. So, yeah, Roman was a great idea. Something else that is going, like, you know, in every WWE specifically, we'll just get them out of the way real quick. They have a lot of things going on. Like, they have good things happening where it's like, you got the Hurt Business. The Hurt Business is something else, man. Really cool faction. People like to compare them to the Nation of Domination, but I think that's not a fair assessment.
That people are just bringing race into the table, which is garbage.
Absolutely. These are four badasses who have all different amazing qualities in the ring that bring all different things, and together they work with MVP, Bobby Lashley, Cedric Alexander, and wait, who's the other guy? Oh, Shelton Benjamin. Shelton. Like,
yeah,
that's a hell of a group.
Yeah, that's a very solid stable, like you said, with a great set of skills all the way across the board, and individually. Outside of MVP 15 years ago, or 12 years ago, none of these guys have ever been able to be real stars in the WWE at breakout. You know.
And you know what?
Go ahead.
It kind of goes into our list that we have later. Is like none of them have been world champion yet.
Untrue. Bobby Lashley was WWE ECW champion.
Ah, okay. So, anyways. That's another good thing. That's another thumbs up I have to give for the year 2020 in WWE is the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
MVP has been a fantastic, awesome talker. Bobby Lashley has been an ass kicker, and then you have the auxiliary in Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Good shit right there. So that gives me a thumbs up. Then there's Retribution. I know you don't know a whole hell of a lot of it, but basically they took a bunch of NXT guys, gave them new names straight out of a Streets of Rage video game, and and put them on screen with Bane masks from Batman, and dude,
and ruined it.
Killed all the momentum within like a week or so, and oh my god. We should tag in Mike Vanek for the main event. You know what? We could probably do that.
We might be able to swing that.
Okay, so Retribution, even with the inclusion of Mustafa Ali as their leader, meh.
I feel so bad because it started off so good. You just had these masked people coming in, attacking wrestlers, attacking cameramen, running off the announce team. I mean, blasting hard chair shots. I mean, Michael Cole, had he not ducked quick enough, he'd have got his head took off his shoulders.
Hello, Trish. Good seeing you in the chat.
Hey, what's up, Trish?
All right. So, okay, so Retribution, Hurt Business? Yeah. All right, so kind of moving on. We got a couple more WWE things, then we'll move on to the other real cool things that are happening across the wrestling globe here. Another thing I just kind of want to mention is the pairing that they have between Alexa Bliss and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Cool stuff. Makes for great TV. Have you seen a lot of that?
I've seen none of it.
You've seen none of it. Okay.
Absolutely none of it. And I was trying to search up stuff today and, chasing a kid, entertaining company. I've seen memes. I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
And I did remember when it started, and how they planted that seed with the Fiend versus Braun Strowman, and they started kind of planting that seed in there when they had their big main event with the what was it? The swamp fight?
I don't know the exact name, but yeah, it was a swamp fight for sure.
And man, say what you will about Alexa Bliss, I
can say a lot.
I'm with you. She's beautiful. She's very talented in all facets of the game. She's a great personality. She's a great wrestler. But she ran the same act for about 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
As soon as she came up from NXT, she was exactly as she was, just a little meaner. And so for them to take this character direction and switch it and make her a little psycho, take the Harley Quinn thing and really pivot with it.
Well, if you don't know what they're doing with it, is they're having her channel Sister Abigail. Finally.
I figured as much.
Finally. So, after all these years, there was all these things saying, oh, this person should be Sister Abigail, that person should be Sister Abigail, etc., etc., etc. Well, now it's Alexa Bliss. And
better than when they had it be Bray Wyatt.
Yes, indeed. So, I think it's good, entertaining programming. The Firefly Funhouse is always awesome. And including Alexa Bliss in there. Now, whatever storylines they're doing right now with it, they're just kind of, it's Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton once again. So it's kind of, it's whatever. But just the thing about the Fiend, Bray Wyatt now is he's not something that you feature on every single show anymore. He's a spectacle. He's kind of like The Undertaker, where early on, they would just have him show up sometimes. And that's kind of where Bray Wyatt's at now.
And I think that's smarter. You can't have that character on there constantly, and having him intermittently was what made him good, was what made Firefly Funhouse good to begin with. Mm-hmm. Bray Wyatt was another example of somebody who played a specific character for so long that he needed a revamp, and Bray Wyatt's always had that knock. He can't. Bray Wyatt, even though he has held the championship, he did fall under that can't win the big one.
Right.
You know, every time it mattered, he lost. Every time it mattered, he fell a step back. So when they revamped this character and started having the creepy Mr. Rogers and then the Fiend, you know, as the alter ego, it was some of the best TV I'd seen in a long time. And not only that, but his Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena was incredible. I felt like I was on some weird drugs. And it was one of the best cinematic things I've ever seen because they let it be a movie. They didn't try to over wrestling it.
I felt like I was watching Requiem for a Dream involving pro wrestlers. It was just super weird.
So I'll catch up on that. We can talk about it later this week.
Yeah, so I give a thumbs up to Alexa and Bray. Bray is always a thumbs up, but the Fiend character and Mr. Rogers' character is just another evolution of his character in general. Good shit. And okay, so we did lose a legendary wrestler this week. Somebody who was an amazing mind for the business. Somebody who was the right and left-hand man of Vince McMahon and the creative decisions next to, Dusty Rhodes and Bruce Pritchard and various other people. He helped create the Royal Rumble. And he is the winner of the Rio de Janeiro Cup.
The first Intercontinental Champion.
And the first Intercontinental Champion, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we did lose Mr. Pat Patterson this week. I guess he was battling some cancer, and we lost him. And this is a mind that has benefited pro wrestling for the last 40 years.
Yeah. Closer to 50.
Yeah.
Much, actually probably over 50. For those of you who don't know, Pat Patterson was a great champion, the true story of the original American dream. Guy came over here from France, didn't speak English, didn't know the land. He just came over here during the war, wanted to get into wrestling, started wrestling, continued on, main evented the Garden with WWF champion. Really? Mike Vanek said he wrestled in Modesto and Los Banos for, did you say Best of the West? Or,
by the way,
for BTW. Big Time Wrestling was what it was.
That makes sense.
And, I mean, the guy traveled the world, and then once it became time for him to step back, he stepped back behind the curtain and worked alongside Vince McMahon for 30-plus years, closer to 40 years. Mm-hmm. He was involved in WrestleMania 1. He is the man who came up with the concept for the Royal Rumble. He came out with so many great ideas. He was one of the first ones to just scrap shows, be like, you know what, this is garbage. I'm not digging it. And he'd go out and have him in the match, reset, start the show over, and always found a way to make sure it was entertaining for the fans, for the wrestlers themselves, for everybody backstage. Just nobody had a better mind for finishes. Nobody had a better mind for gimmick. And nobody had a better mind for what bullshit, and as they like to call it, gaga, that we as fans would appreciate. So, Pat Patterson, I raise my citra to your memory, and will always, always think about all the great things you did for wrestling.
And other communities out there as well. Big drink to that.
Yeah, I mean, the first openly gay man in wrestling.
Yes.
Like, the first openly gay man in wrestling. The first one who just made it a point to let everybody know he was who he was essentially married, even though marriage wasn't allowed back in those days, sadly, unfairly, with the same man for over 35 years. And he always made sure it was not an obstacle for himself, because he was just that good at what he did and that good of a human being.
Yep. So, Pat Patterson, rest in power, my brother.
He drank at the OP in the 70s.
What? Wait, the OP was around in the 70s?
The OP's been around forever, man.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's crazy. I thought it was something that's just been around like the 2000s or whatever, but I guess not.
No. No, it's the Clamper Bar in Modesto. We also lost another person in wrestling, someone who was a lot less important to it, but had... Damn it, Brandon, what happened to my video?
I don't know.
All right, but I'm still there auditorily?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Somebody who had less of a permanent impact on the business, but did have some mainstream crossover appeal, did do some great things in the 80s that were some of my earliest memories of wrestling, and that was the mighty Tiny Zeus Lister, also known as Debo.
Debo.
But us wrestling fans will always remember him as Zeus.
Zeus. Oh man, hide your money. Debo's coming.
Who? Debo.
Oh man, that's annoying. Hey, do me a favor. On your end, go ahead and turn your camera on and turn your camera off. See what happens. As we work out these technical bugs. There we go. And that sort of shit happens. Okay, there we go. And back in business in his smoky podcasting area.
The office. Hey, Brandon, I'm sorry, man. Do you have a Wolfman? Do you have a giant life-size Ouija board? Do you have a drum set? Do you have quality whiskey behind you? No, you do not.
I don't. But I have a guitar.
A rather nice guitar, too.
This is a Schecter Diamond Series Diamond Platinum. And it's got some very sexy bats on it. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So, anyway.
Put your sexy bats away. We're talking about wrestling.
All right. Sweaty dudes and Speedos. Got it. Here we go. So, all right. So, we had Pat Patterson. You know what? We'll this next one, before we get to the final one to talk about, the year of 2020 in WWE has been ruled by none other than Drew McIntyre. If you don't know who Drew McIntyre is, he's about a 6'7", long-haired, bearded Scot. A big Scottish man who wears a kilt, and it looks like he's built out of chiseled rock. And he has been the WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Since WrestleMania.
Since WrestleMania back in April. So, I have to just say, right off the bat, good shit. I'm glad the company decided to go in a different type of direction than what they would normally go through.
What? Whoa. Before you expound upon that, what's different? Drew is the quintessential usual WWE champion.
Okay, so what I mean is we went through about a 5-year period where it was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, or Jon Moxley, and Brock Lesnar.
And Bray Wyatt.
And barely. And the title just cycled around them for about 5 years.
Dean Ambrose only held it once.
Was it once? I swear it was more than once.
No, it was only the one time.
Okay.
And his run was fucking phenomenal.
It was. It was hilarious. But if you really think about it, I mean, we may have had other champions in between there, but they were quick transitional champions that were just forgotten about, or at least I forgot about them.
AJ held it longer than Dean. AJ held it probably longer than Rollins, but not as many times.
I forgot about AJ. Oh, yeah, then there was that whole James Ellsworth program.
But my point is Drew McIntyre, in my opinion, he's very similar to a Brock Lesnar in physique. He's very similar in intensity, and he doesn't subplex people all day, and he does do a better job of selling for his opponents. But he is that big, tall, muscular, handsome, Greek god style wrestler that Vince McMahon loves.
And he looks like a champ.
Yeah.
And what I like is ever since he became champ, he became charismatic. Now, I'm not talking about like The Rock, where he's loud and he's brash and he's funny. I'm talking about he's kind of like a George Clooney kind of charismatic, where he's a smooth talker, and he's just, somebody who could back up his shit. So
personally, I think his accent bails him out of a lot of situations, but okay.
I mean, if you had a nice accent, it would probably work. I mean, Joanne, you have a nice accent. Does it bail you out of situations?
It was the first thing that got me talking to her.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Then I realized she was really cool, so, there's that.
Drew McIntyre, big good shit for me.
Aside from the fact that they had him lose his belt and get it right back, that was garbage.
Yeah, they probably were just like, whoa. We gave it to Randy Orton. We realized Randy Orton, he doesn't need it. Give it back to Drew. So we're back in that whole thing again. We might get a new program come WrestleMania. I don't know. But 2020 for Drew McIntyre, I've enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. And then the last WWE thing I want to touch on is there was a female wrestler who most notably made her name as a manager for Andrade Cien Almas.
And her little garbage-ass stable.
I don't even remember what that thing was called. But Selena Vega, a cute little Latina woman, she was fired. At the time, WWE was instituting this whole thing about not having outside promotions in order to make more money. And there's a lot of controversy with that. So they're not allowing WWE wrestlers to be able to have Twitch accounts, to be able to have cameos, to make extra money on the side to talk to fans. They're not being able to have YouTube channels or anything else unless they are tied and affiliated with WWE so they can take their money.
Which really, that stops, like you said, the Twitch streams, most notably Xavier Woods' awesome-ass channel, Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yes.
Which culminated a few years ago at, oh my God, is it E3? That him and the Elite, the New Day and the Elite squared off playing Street Fighter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Kenny Omega and Xavier Woods came down to the wire. Kenny got the better of him, and then they had an awesome habanero eating contest. It was Ghost Peppers. Ugh. And they were both just popping them, and they did their thing. If you can find that out there, I highly recommend it, man. It was very entertaining, and when they ended it, Kenny Omega made it a point to talk about, we're not allowed to work with each other more often than not because of company contracts, but being as this is outside of company, like the company can't touch us here, we can work together, and hopefully we can work together more in the future. And once again, and we'll get on that subject later, but WWE with cutting all these independent things kind of put the kibosh on that, which leads us back to Zelina Vega.
Yes, so allegedly she was fired immediately for having an OnlyFans account, a non-nudity OnlyFans account where she would share cosplay and like swimsuit photos and stuff like that and charge fans for it, which, okay, everyone has one nowadays, so whatever. Well, apparently after WWE was like, you guys can't have this stuff, she started the OnlyFans page, and then they fired her immediately for that. But coincidentally, right before that, she tweeted out something saying, I believe in unions, and then was fired. So, yeah, man, like, how would you think, and let me ask you the question that I'm going to ask you is, what do you think about unions in pro wrestling? Do you think they would work?
I'm a big proponent for the things that unions provide, and I find it to be a sad thing that in a lot of ways you need a union to provide those things, such as, guaranteed working conditions, medical, and pension, a lot of other things. You know, WWE has had their employees set down as independent contractors since the dawn of time. And it gets to a point now, especially where we're at, where when they start cutting off these extra streams of revenue that everybody's doing. As you guys all know, I work for Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. Coca-Cola is a major company. Hell, Coca-Cola is bigger than the WWE by all stretches of the imagination.
Oh, for sure.
If I wanted to go start an OnlyFans account, they're okay with it so long as I don't have an I work for Coca-Cola in the background, or so long as I don't mention I work for Coca-Cola.
Yes.
As long as I'm not working for a competitor brand, doing Pepsi ads or 7-Up ads or, any energy drinks that are not under the Coca-Cola umbrella, I'm allowed to do it.
Yep.
Partially because I'm in a union. That all being said, I would love to see the treatment that comes with a union. However, I also understand that in an individual business, which WWE is one, and one of my other favorite things, Teamster myself, Joe.
I belong to a union too, so I know how you feel. Go ahead. Sorry.
And so, UFC, MMA, there was a push for a fighters union, and it got pretty well squashed. Mainly because the top dogs, your Conor McGregor's, your George St. Pierre's, your Khabib Nurmagomedov's, your stars won't get behind it, because in the end, if there has to be a pie, they get a smaller piece of that pie.
Yeah.
And I feel like wrestling's the same, where somebody like a Selena Vega, who is mid-card at best, would really benefit from a union. Somebody like a Roman Reigns or a Randy Orton or a Bray Wyatt might not reap all the same benefits from a union.
Yeah, and there would be different pay scales, different type of scales and tiers per person based on performances or whatever else. But I think what they're trying to get at for pro wrestling with unions is just they want the things that they're not really getting in general. Like, I know WWE has gotten better over the years at giving medical services and insurance, giving and mandatory days off and that kind of thing. So having a balanced work life kind of thing. So
yeah.
So like, especially since in WWE's case, everybody is an independent contractor. But they're obviously employees. That they have to be. But and for tax reasons as well. Like that it would benefit them. And sure, I think possibly for a pro wrestler specifically, and I'm not talking about any other union out there. Just if pro wrestlers became a union, I don't know. Like, I think that would inhibit how much a wrestler can make money wise. It might cap them out, but there is also benefits to it where, a better work-life balance, better medical benefits, and, seniority. I mean, if that's a thing. Depending on the company.
Like I said, I don't see an issue with it. The issue I see is it not happening because those at the top would lose a lot of their status, and to be at the top of something as major as the WWE would be it's hard work. It's these guys go above and beyond. There's nobody at the top of the card at WWE, and y'all can say whatever the fuck you want about talent or any of that. If you really think that a billionaire who is still very involved with the company, and that is his baby and has been his baby since, the last 40 plus years, is not going to take the people that put it down the hardest for him and put them at the top and really rely on them, you're lying to yourself.
Yes.
You don't know, you've never apparently worked for a family-owned business, because those people really, they put their eggs in the basket that carries them.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a different stroke situation. You know, if you're a part of a union and you've worked X amount of years, you have this much experience and yada, 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 typically in a union, you get moved up or your pay scale gets better or you get considered for better promotions. In pro wrestling, that's not necessarily the case because pro wrestling deals with fans, deals with how much of a draw that you are in terms of merchandise sales, admission, ticket sales, etc., etc., etc. So even if pro wrestlers in specifically, say, WWE, you know, like, even though I don't even know how to compare it. It's like, okay, I was going to say something along the lines of you have somebody that was like at the extreme bottom of the card. Like you have like Ricochet down there who can do some amazing shit in the ring. If you give him the world heavyweight title, you know, he's probably not going to make the stock market fly. You know what I mean? So everybody has their place.
Agreed. But now here's my other question to you. When you say union, are you talking about a solitary union within each company, or are you talking about like a pro wrestlers union, like once you reach a certain level, X number of days on TV, X number of commas in your bank account, you are required to join this wrestlers union that spans across all these companies? Like what's your thought process on that?
I don't think that would work. I think it would have to be specific to each company that you have. You know, there would have to be rules, there would have to be regulations, but I don't think it could be universal, not by any means.
See, that therein lies your problem, though, because then, see, that's the issue being, if you can't have a union within one company. You know, a union per company, that's not how that works. You know.
Side note, Rich Swann is Impact TNA Impact champion, and he is less attractive than Ricochet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't handle this. Rich Swann's badass, by the way.
Yes, he is. Loved his work on 205 Live. Haven't caught him in TNA yet. But as far as unions go, I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it would ever be universal. That's my opinion.
I agree it probably wouldn't be, but I feel like it would have to be for it to be really effective. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, the top tier of the WWE is just that, the top tier of the WWE. And then you go across the board to your other stars who, if you're going to tell me that Roman Reigns makes more money than Chris Jericho, I'll call you a liar. I don't believe that.
Hey,
I'll bet you Chris Jericho doubles Roman Reigns' income.
Ooh.
Easily.
Ooh. Hey, somebody go look up the salaries of Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho.
Well, now here's the thing, though. There's the company salaries, but then let's also look at Fozzy, album sales, and things that Chris Jericho would probably not be allowed to do in this day and age of WWE.
Oh, by the way, Chris Jericho makes a metric fuck ton of money doing his Talk is Jericho podcast.
And his Talk is Jericho podcast. So you think about that, all those avenues will be stripped away from him where he's still with WWE.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike Vanek, Chris Jericho is very well paid. Yes, indeed. So we agree to disagree to agree, basically.
No, like I said, I agree. Union's a great idea, and I would love to see it happen. I just don't see it happening because of the independent nature of the business. That's, like I said, that was the other problem with the UFC, is your top-tier fighters wouldn't be willing to give up. Conor McGregor makes, $8 to $10 million to show, and that and a half again to win. Plus the proper number 12 endorsements, plus the fact that he's got company share stock because he broke records. Mm-hmm. If you're telling me he's going to be willing to give up half of his pay to make sure his undercard is taken as well care of, I'm just not buying it. No. Because he put in the work to get there. I feel the same way with a lot of these other bigger wrestlers.
I agree with that. So, with that being said, let's move away from the WWE and head over to the AEW side, man. We just got a couple things to cover, and then we can get to our awesome list.
All right.
So
okay. So did you see Vanek via Google that Roman Reigns' net worth is $12 million, and Jericho's is 18?
Ah, okay. There you go. I'm glad to see they're doing very well, though.
Which, think about, and that's what's reported on. Jericho's got some under the table deals.
Oh, God, for sure. And speaking of under the table deals, man, the stuff that's going on AEW is really cool. 2020 has been a hodgepodge of so much stuff, and what AEW does very well is their storytelling. They pay a lot of attention to detail. Whether it's something they did in Being the Elite on YouTube to something they did on AEW Dark or a talk show on their YouTube as well. Things get mentioned, things get brought up in the programming. So it's kind of like, to follow AEW, you kind of have to watch things like Being the Elite or whatever.
Tony Schiavone's Afterwards.
A Shot of Brandy, where she interviews people while cooking. All of these things all rolled together, AEW Dark. All these things rolled together. You have to kind of watch them to really understand what is actually happening on Dynamite every single week. And which is how we got things with the Inner Circle versus the Elite, Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, all good shit. But the mainstay that we had for the last 6-8 months, whatever it was Jon Moxley.
Whoa! I want to save that for the end because that spans. That's something that I think is going to be a deep conversation. And the other big thing to go on with AEW, I feel like is worth mentioning first because it's a quick up moment and then we move on.
All right, so the big thing that just happened was, you guys remember Sting? Well, Sting is back in wrestling at 62 years old. Don't know if he's gonna...
Sting!
He hasn't been on a TNT program in 20 years.
I actually thought that was really brilliant storytelling. Now, for those of you who are not well-versed in wrestling, Sting. I can't say enough about Sting. Those of you who watched WWF growing up, which was, I was primarily a WWF guy, but I would rant, once I'd ran through all the WWF ones, and, we didn't have cable when I was really little. I didn't even know WCW existed. I started, all right, Joe, good night, thank you, and no, we will not behave. But anyway, Sting was this awesome, basically he was the Ultimate Warrior, but he could wrestle.
Yes.
What was the difference? Sting was super cool, painted his face, all about the kids, all about the little stingers out there, brilliant wrestler. And then when wrestling took its pivot into more adult style entertainment, something that, your teenagers and your young men and your young women could get into, Sting developed this crow gimmick where he was hiding up in the rafters and he came down in a black, before it was colorful tights with colorful paint and, big moves, loud, obnoxious, blonde hair. He comes out with dyed black hair, a baseball bat, a trench coat, and he's painted all white, looking like he should be on a black metal album cover. Mm-hmm. And he becomes a certified kind of dark badass. And when WCW folded, he was the one person that WWE could never get. Never. And when they finally did, he was well over the hill. They did a cool nostalgia match with him and Triple H, which he lost. They let him challenge for the title with Seth Rollins, which he lost. And he got hurt, thereby, at the time, ending his career.
Yep.
But on AEW 2 weeks ago, the lights go out and Sting comes out.
I think it's a good thing. I guess he got signed to a multi-year deal where he's going to be on TV a lot.
Which, you know, I am not all about seeing Sting back in the ring. I'm not. I'll be honest with that. Dude's 62 years old. His last 2 matches were not incredible. Mm-mm. They really were not. The one with Triple H was fun for all the nostalgia in it. But they weren't classic Sting matches. Now, that being said, the mind that Steve is his real name, Sting, brings to the ring. The penchant for drama, for storytelling. We're talking Bret Hart level.
Yes.
And I say that unabashedly. Fuck you if you disagree.
I've never been like the biggest Sting fan, but I absolutely appreciate everything he's ever done. I've never seen him have a bad match. I mean, other than Jeff Hardy in TNA all those years ago. But, you know, to see him in AEW, I don't care if people are saying things like, oh, now AEW is just WCW and yada, yada, yada. It's like, go fuck yourself.
People have been saying that since the beginning anyway.
Yeah. And even if it is, it's off to a way better start, in my opinion.
I don't know about a way better start, man. You were not a WCW fan. You've admitted that several times.
I watched it, but I wasn't a big fan.
You got into it in the heat of the Monday Night Wars, correct?
Mm-mm. No, I saw Nitro's very first episode.
Okay. Well, which in the end was the start of the Monday Night Wars. Because Nitro's very first episode was from the Mall of America, and it was when Lex Luger showed up at the end of the show.
Yeah, and that was a big deal since apparently he was still under contract of the WWE.
He is, to this day, the only, outside of the simulcast they did when Vince bought WCW, that has appeared on both WWE or
WWF
and WCW programming in the same night.
Yeah. Now,
you know,
but the difference between WWE or WWF and WCW, WCW got goofy. Like WWF had all the characters. The decision making in WCW was, until the NWO showed up, was laughable at
What's
best.
up, Al Baker?
What's up, Al? Welcome to our wrestling episode. So, okay, anyways, back to Sting. Sting's in AEW. Apparently he's going to be there for quite a long time. Are you excited?
I'm excited to see what he brings from a story standpoint. Like I said, as far as actually seeing him get in the ring, 50-50. I mean, it's cool, but if he makes me shut my mouth, all the better. You know what I mean? What a joy to be wrong on that, to see Sting return to classic form. But what really excited me after his entrance, which was, you know, he went and backed down Taz's stable and, you know, stared Cody and Darby Allin down and then left.
Yeah.
But when he came out the next week and Cody straight got up and was like, all right, let's just get to the point. I have been waiting to share a ring with you my entire life. And Sting takes the mic from him and goes, oh, hold up there, Junior. I'm not here for you. I'm here because I see some interesting things, some familiar looking things. And the first thing he does is point at Darby Allin.
That's right. Face paint.
And then he essentially gives Cody a, hey, but you know what, sport, we'll get to it, and gives him the little hero, you know, father, you know, uncle figure side hug. That was dope.
And that's
because he showed some dissension.
Yep. And that was a little bit of foreshadowing.
Well, and that's what excites me, is what stories Sting can help tell. Because that's what Sting really brings to the dance. Even if his body's not going to hold up like it was. And let's be fair, not everybody's Chris Jericho. Not everybody at 50 and fat can go out and have just as good of a match as they did at 26 and lean and shredded and, you know, because Chris Jericho can still do that. Like, Go back and watch him and Okada. Go back and watch him and Naito. Go back and watch him and Kenny. Him and Mox. Mm-hmm. Him and Orange Cassidy. Chris Jericho still delivers a classic every time he steps through the ropes. Mm-hmm. I don't have that same confidence in Sting.
No. Not at 62. He's not a Rip Rogers. He's not going to 62. Come on.
And he's also not a Trip Rogers.
Nah.
Shout out to the BLE.
All right, so let's get to our list. We got one more thing to touch on.
Yes.
And as you mentioned Jon Moxley earlier, congratulations to him and Renee as well. They are pregnant and they're going to be parents, so good for them. But Jon Moxley finally lost the AEW championship. To who? Finally, we're starting to see the cleaner, Kenny Omega.
The uncrowned champion up until that night of AEW. The guy we all expected to be to carry the company. The cleaner. The best bout machine. Kenny Omega.
That's right. So with that, we also got a merger, or at least a working relationship between AEW and TNA Impact Wrestling. So since the win, Kenny Omega has been showing up on TNA Impact. I forgot what their show is called. He's been cutting
Impact.
Impact, okay. He cut a promo on there. I believe he actually showed up. I don't know if he's actually wrestled a match just yet, but there could be some really cool possibilities of working with other companies. I mean, he is in the title hunt right now. He is the collector, as they say.
Yeah, like Brandon was saying, he shows up on Impact. What set this all in motion was Don Kallus, who, if you don't know who Don Kallus is, Don Kallus has been involved in the wrestling business for about 20 plus years. He worked for WWE for a time. I believe he worked for WCW for a time. He went into retirement for a while. He came out, started doing a podcast, started being color commentary for New Japan Pro Wrestling, joined up with Impact, and became a power player over there. He has been a mentor to Kenny Omega for 27 years.
Yeah.
And he showed up and helped call the Kenny Omega-Jon Moxley match. And when he got involved and dropped the microphone, the way Kenny Omega took the title was he smashed Jon Moxley across the face, opened him up, one-winged angeled him, and then ran out the building to Don Callis' limo. And as they're running, Tony Schiavone's following him, trying to get a word out of him. And Don Callis says, well, we'll tell you Tuesday what's going on. To which Tony Schiavone's like, Dynamite's on Wednesdays. And Don Callis says, yes, I know. We will be coming to you live from Impact. So all of a sudden, we've got this surprise working relationship between the de facto number 2 and 3 wrestling companies in the United States. And that very same night, you were saying that there was a lot of rumor that Kenta would be showing up on AEW that night. So there's rumbling, and previously at Wrestle Kingdom, when Jericho wrestled Tanahashi, the agreement was if Tanahashi pinned Jericho, then he would get a shot at the AEW title on Dynamite.
So wrestling promotions are starting to intertwine and start to intermingle, and we're going to get some fantasy matches here soon. I can smell it.
Well, and to that credit, like you were talking about earlier, Kenny Omega in that promo mentioned that he grew up a comic book collector. And since comic books just aren't the most profitable way to go, and sometimes you just can't get your hands on them because, you can get what the market offers, he could go out collecting world championships. He is already a AAA champion, which, by the way, he defended that belt on Saturday night and retained it. Yep. So he is now a AAA champion. the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Very shortly, I know for a fact, you will be seeing him challenge Rich Swann for the Impact World title, and I got $20 that says he will take that title. And then what's next? That's the interesting part of this conversation, and that's why I want to save this for last, Brandon. What do you see him doing next? Is it Ring of Honor?
Oh, man.
Is it New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I know they're trying to work with New Japan again, but I don't see him getting the IWGP title. I mean, wow. Can you imagine that? He will be an actual world champion. And what I mean by that is he will have the champion of Mexico, their title. He'll have the Impact title, the AEW title, the
Ring of Honor.
The Ring of Honor. Like, he'll just go, man. You know, he's the cleaner. He's cleaning house, literally.
I mean, could you?
MLW,
would it really surprise you to see Kenny Omega wearing every single title that didn't have the words WWE on it in every major organization in the world? Because, you know, MLW. Thank you, Mike Venn. NWA. You know, I mean, why not? Why not? Okay. We've talked about this on the show before. New Japan with Kenny Omega had exactly what they have been waiting for. They had a Gaijin from Canada who delivered the best matches. 2018's G1 Climax tournament was Kenny Omega trooping around the whole block, showing that he could wrestle Toru Yano, showing that he could wrestle Tetsuya Naito, showing that he could have a classic with Kota Ibushi, and showing that he could fucking hoss it up with Tomohiro Ishii. Every single kind of match that is available outside of hardcore, I'm talking about different wrestler styles, he was able to turn it on. Mm-hmm. And then on New Year's Eve, they announced that AEW exists. His contract expires the day before Wrestle Kingdom. He loses to Tanahashi. And then everything that was supposedly going to Kenny Omega goes to Switchblade Jay White, who is phenomenal. But he's not... Oh, by the way, the thing I forgot to mention about the Gaijin from Canada who has the best matches with everybody, he also speaks fluent Japanese. So they had everything. New Japan had their whole load ready to be placed on the back of Kenny Omega. And he gives his 2-week notice. So now, with New Japan has probably come through the pandemic better than everybody else. Would you argue that?
No, I wouldn't. I agree 100%. They're doing great, and they have their COVID situation pretty much under control.
Yeah, they're at half crowds now.
Yeah.
So, with Wrestle Kingdom on the horizon, would it really surprise you for the winner of Kota Ibushi Tetsuya Naito at the end of the night to catch a beatdown from Kenny Omega?
Oh, I hope so. Like,
yeah.
You know, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Like, 2020 has been kind of a shit year, and for pro wrestling, there's been a lot of shitty fucking moments. But it's starting to become awesome to be a wrestling fan again, even when there's barely any crowds or no crowds. Just whatever they have going on right now is genius. AEW specifically is breaking open a barrier that has been closed forever. Now, don't get me wrong, WWE has worked with promotions in the past. Like, they worked with New Japan, they worked with NWA, that kind of stuff. But it was always to make them look bad.
It was not so much to make that other promotion look bad, but it was to glean some of their talent, give some fresh faces, but in the end, they always push the narrative of WWF is better.
Yes. Now,
you know,
in this, it's not about AEW is better. It's about Kenny Omega is Kenny Omega.
Yes. And something I've been saying, you know, everybody's been talking since the inception of AEW, oh, the Elite are just going to book themselves on top. And then Kenny Omega essentially loses the majority of his biggest matches.
Yep.
He doesn't beat Jericho in the inaugural show. He loses to Jon Moxley. He gets choked unconscious by Pac, Neville. You know, but I always was telling everybody that once it starts to look like he's chasing the title for real, do you ever think that the crowd would not believe it? Because we know the skill this guy possesses. Right now, he's being a company man. But anytime Kenny Omega's like, nope, I'm going forward, is there any time we as a crowd are not going to buy it?
That remains to be seen.
No, bullshit. There's no way we're not going to buy it. Kenny Omega still gets the biggest ovations of anybody in the company every single fucking time.
Agreed. Okay.
We all know. Who's a better wrestler in AEW than Kenny Omega? Who's a better wrestler in WWE than Kenny Omega?
Shit.
Who's a better wrestler in New Japan than Kenny Omega?
Okada.
No. No. Nobody. Dude, the guy, in my opinion, and I've stated this worldwide, the guy is the best in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe second fiddle to a Chris Jericho. Maybe. But the guy can have anybody's match with anybody in any part of the world and connect with a crowd. I'm so excited to see what really unfolds here, dude. Like I said, I'm hoping we can't even see the motherfucker anymore because he's so covered in gold. And I hope it leads to him grabbing a main event at WrestleMania. Why the fuck not?
All right, so Mike Vanek wants to get tagged in.
Not till we go to the list, which is going to require me getting another drink.
Okay. Well, go get another drink.
All right.
So, yeah, man, like, as he's grabbing another drink, let's just say pro wrestling has been, dude, it's been up, it's been down. It's like it's a relationship, man. It is the bro opera that we all love. The bro opera. I just made that up. You know. Oh, hey, who just popped on here? Oh, what's up, Roger? How you doing, sir? Good timing. We're about to start our greatest wrestlers never to be world champion list. So you popped in at the right time. We just talked about all the happenings that have been happening in pro wrestling in 2020, from the goods, the bads. I mean, mostly the goods. We touched on a lot of things like Drew McIntyre. Awesome champion. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss together, good TV. Zelina Vega and her unionization and getting fired, all that, interesting.
Hey, what's up, Roger?
So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our main event for the evening. We've talked about the happenings in pro wrestling, but now it's time for our opinions.
Our opinions were just on the happenings earlier.
Now we're talking about other opinions.
All right, so you wait. I guess I gotta call Mike Vanek.
Do we really want Mike Vanek on the show?
You're the one who said we would.
Okay.
You agreed to it. Like, if you would have said no, I'd have told him no. But you said, Mike Vanek, we can swing that. You can come in for the main event.
All right,
so
we could bring Mike Vanek in, but what we got to do is we're gonna bring it down to 5 people. We each made a list of 10, but if Mike Vanek's gonna come in, we got to dip it down to 5.
Why? Let's just be quick about it.
All right, you got it.
Because I said 5 and you made me go with 10, so no.
Well, I didn't know Vanek was gonna be a part of this, brother.
You should have anticipated it, brother. I'm calling him.
All right, call him.
All right, so got the technical details there. All right. Brother, are you there? Okay, he's not here yet. So while Brandon works out the technical background details, one of the things that we've been working on is bringing up different topics. And one of the ones I came up with was, dude, how about our top wrestlers that were never champions? All your people that were great, but could never win the big one. Mike Vanek, I saw you. Mike Vanek said he's only got 5. Well, that's cool. You can sit tight until we get to, 1 through 5. But either way, there he is. One of the things that we've been working on is bringing up. Turn your volume off, Mike Vanek.
Hold on, I'm trying to grab him.
Mike Vanek, turn your volume off.
It's off.
It is now.
Can you see me?
Not yet. Turn your video on.
Sup?
There you go. Hello.
There we go.
Hey, first of all, dude, Kenny Omega is going to have every belt in the whole fucking world. They're already talking to WXW about him going over there. I bet you he goes over to Pro Wrestling Revolution in England, dude.
Pro, all of it.
Dude, Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world.
I agree.
And the only reason that Seth Rollins isn't wrestling as Tyler Black right now, dude, how good of a fucking match would that be right now? I'm telling you.
Phenomenal. Or, finally getting the match between Kenny Omega and AJ Styles that we never got. Because the Bullet Club beat up AJ Styles, and 2 days later he shows up at the Rumble.
Yeah. AJ versus Kenny would be a dream match. But
dream.
Vince gives AJ too much money for him to do that. All right, so I only made 5, but I got 2 honorable mentions.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a bunch of honorable mentions that I'll work in the midst of it. But go ahead.
I got honorable mentions, and then I'll add 4 and 5 because can't have 5 because he was WWE champion. Never mind.
Well, never mind. But go ahead and let me and Brandon blow through our 10 through 6.
Yeah,
and then we can start getting into it.
Yeah.
All right, we got the Echo eliminated, and we can start now. We each have
great job, Brandon.
We have a list of 10 each. These are pro wrestlers who have never been World Heavyweight Champion in ECW, WCW, or WWE.
Wait. You guys said you weren't. Wait, hold on.
I thought we agreed ECW was cool.
Oh,
as long as it wasn't WWE CW.
Well, then they're good. Dreamer.
Okay. So, all right, whatever it is, we'll just roll with it. It's fine.
All right.
No need.
Wait. AWA doesn't count, right?
Right.
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so who wants to go first? You know what? I'll go first.
All right. Brandon, who is your number 10 should have been but wasn't champion?
For shits and giggles, it would have been absolutely amazing. And I'm not talking about pure talent. I'm just talking about what I think would be amazing if they became champion. And I'm talking about motherfucking Doink the Clown.
Did you just put that on your list because our boy Jonathan Zero made you?
No, because
I'm blue.
Dude, Doink the Clown was hilarious. His face and his
enough to be a world champion.
Hey man, his act that he had in '93 was amazing. From him being a heel to being a narcissist in the mirror and just being a sad clown and just the practical jokes that he would do. And then his whole feud with Jerry Lawler with him and Dink was just amazing.
Mid-card at best.
Okay, it was a lot of fun, man, but do you really think Doink should have been the champion?
No.
For one day.
I wasn't asking you, I'm asking the guy that listed Doink.
Yeah, man. Especially in an era where characters were key, to put a heavyweight championship on a clown would have been the icing on the cake. Dude,
I'm juggalo as fuck. and I can't stand behind that, dude. Like, I'm
smart.
sorry, man. I love Doink the Clown. Matt Bourne version especially.
Yes.
Incredible, especially as an evil clown. But to carry the belt, no. I'm sorry. I can't co-sign that.
I don't give a shit if you co-signed it or not. Doink the Clown as champion would have been amazing.
Schmuggler.
Smuggle.
No, I'm the Schmuggalo, and I'm not even with that.
All right, so that's my number 10. Dave, what's your number 10, man?
First of all, we've discussed you don't call me by my real Christian name on this show.
Don't make me don't make me call you by your government name.
Hey, I'm so glad that we walked over each other so that went out. All right. My number 10, and Mike Vanek is going to probably be mad that this guy's not higher on my list. This guy was, in my opinion, the best heel of the entire late 80s in the WWF. This guy was a second, at least, maybe third generation wrestler. I'm going to say second because The Rock was the first third generation wrestler. Second generation wrestler, the best heel. This guy was storied after Vince McMahon himself. My number 10 is the one and only $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Money. Okay, I gotta stop singing, otherwise we're gonna get copywritten. Okay.
I'm just saying, everybody's got a price, and everybody's gonna pay.
Well,
Mike Bennett, go ahead.
Do we count that he was given a title?
No, and I thought long and hard about that.
No, that was never official.
Nor was it acknowledged because they fined him for it, and that's why the title was vacant for the tournament at WrestleMania 4. Now, Macho Man Randy Savage winning the title at WrestleMania 4 was the best possible fucking scenario because the Mega Powers exploding still is on my top 2 lists of feuds of all fucking time. All time. 1 year of the best storytelling in wrestling history. But would I have been pissed if the $1 Million Man walked away at WrestleMania 4 as the champion? No, sir. Not at all.
Ooh. Okay, so I gotta rearrange my list. I kind of just put a bunch of names down. Didn't put them in any particular order. So my number 9.
Hold on. Third generation wrestlers are The Rock, Natty Neidhart, Bray Wyatt, and there was one more. Go ahead.
So either way, The Rock was the first, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting piece there. So, because
what's up, Jillian? Welcome to the dance.
Absolutely. Both Jillian and Al are on the podcast, so you know
that's great when a couple decides to forego doing a couple things and watch us separately. Even if they're sitting next to each other, they're each watching us on their own, devices.
Hey,
fucking thank you.
We're doing couple things too. I mean, Vanek is our 3-way here.
Ross Von Erich was the first third generation wrestler.
Ross, the guy.
Which one was
the guy from Friends?
No, Ross Von Erich, the Von Erich wrestling family.
Oh.
Whose kid was he?
He's Kevin Von Erich's oldest son.
Okay.
Watch
Brandon.
more 90s WWE, you learn some things.
Gotcha. Brandon, your number 9.
My number 9, you're going to laugh at me again, but I thought at the time he was in the WWE, he could have been propelled to the top and should have been, at least for a short time or even a transition. I'm talking about Sean Morley himself, Val Venus. Val Venus should have been a WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
You know what? I'm not going to laugh at you like Mike. Go ahead, Mike Vanek. You want to continue laughing?
I got him weed once.
Well, now he's all about the weed. Roger, no, he did not kill himself. Or are we talking about somebody else?
No, he's talking about Kevin Von Erich because the Von Erichs had a history of suicide and mental illness. The Von Erichs as a family are the most tragic story in wrestling. They really are, man. And if you don't know it, look it up. Heartbreaking, but all the Von Erichs, incredible wrestlers.
Well, I think we're probably going to get a dark side of the ring for that too.
On the WWE network about the Texas territory, and it goes all over the Von Erich family. It's a must watch.
Okay. I might go to sleep to that tonight. So I'm not going to laugh at you on that, man. Val Venus was an incredible wrestler. Should he have gotten it with the Val Venus porn star gimmick? No way. No. But as far as his ability to work a crowd, work in the ring, all that, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that in the slightest, man. I'll drink to that.
Okay.
You know, he was a champion in AAA.
AAA,
and CMLL.
Yes. Val Venus was great, dude. Like honestly, dude had, as Bruce Pritchard likes to say on his show, dude had it. Like, that guy took one of the dumbest gimmicks, and he was a huge star with it. No, I'm not mad at that.
All right, give me your number 9.
My number 9 is a young man who we watched come in immediately, and within just a few months, the guy pins John Cena, the guy pins Rey Mysterio, and I forget who it was, but the guy got pushed to the top of the card instantly, and then due to a combination of injuries and stepping on the wrong toes and injuring some of the other important wrestlers of the day, got cut short of WWE and made his way back into TNA, where he was a world champion, but we all know TNA doesn't count. And my vote is for...
I don't know, dude. I think TNA counts.
Not in this category.
List.
Okay, but in wrestling history, man, they have some good matches.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, but I am going to go with my number 9 is Mr. Kennedy.
You know what, Mr. Kennedy. Damn it! Just saw that coming. Mr. Kennedy reminds me a whole hell of a lot of you, sir.
Oh, you know it. Now, Mike Vanek, let me harken back to our history here. Do you remember the night when we chased hundreds of people away from our line by singing "Carry On, Wayward Son" because Rock 98, because 98 Rocks was out there playing it at a house show? When we went to Arco Arena, sat in the VIP box, and got to drink Corona out of a can for free all night long.
Top 5 best wrestling show I've ever been to. Besides the time we went to the WWE taping where they did Raw and SmackDown in the same night.
Wow.
Oh, in Fresno when we were the seat fillers?
Yeah, and we were seat fillers, dude.
That shit was fucking dope. But anyway,
oh, my God.
On that card that I spoke of where we chased people out of lines, we watched Mr. Kennedy wrestle The Undertaker.
Yeah, it was a good match.
And the whole time he was doing his intro, that place booed. But when it came time to say, Mr., that place was like, boo, Mr. Dude was a fucking stud, a star, a great ring worker, a great mic worker. He won Money in the Bank.
Absolutely, dude. Probably one of the top 20 most underrated workers WWE's ever signed.
Ever signed.
Pac champion. He was a champion in Mexico. He was an All Japan champion. And, dude, he could work his fucking ass off. And when we went and saw him wrestle, I think he was way better at a house show than he ever was on TV.
I would agree with that, except for his performance in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, Money in the Bank was dope, dude.
And he fucking, he was who I was pulling for, and I didn't expect it. But when he did, and you heard Bradshaw tell him, "Get it, Ken! Get it, boy!" Like, you could tell Bradshaw was genuinely excited for what was coming. And I just... he's one of my favorite what-ifs, is Mr. Kennedy.
So Bobby Hart took me to go see APW in, I think, Daly City. and Mr. Kennedy was on the card, and he put on one hell of a fucking show for probably 200 people.
Dude's a monster. Monster.
All right.
All right, Brandon.
Number 8.
Your number 8 should have been, but wasn't, world champion.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Oh, really?
Really?
I hate to tell you, but
He's a way better announcer than he is a wrestler.
Ah, man. I thought Wade Barrett was the shit, man.
Dude, Wade Barrett was garbage. He was the worst wrestler that I watched at WrestleMania.
Motherfucker, if Alberto Del Rio can be a multiple-time world champion, Wade Barrett should have been one as well.
At least once, but Alberto Del Rio was way better.
Champion.
I don't know, man. Wade Barrett, once he got that, bad news Barrett gimmick, he was over like Rover. I thought he was fine in the ring. Was he a Ric Flair? No.
The only good gimmick he ever had
Mike,
was the next.
I don't care. You're about to get me heated.
I got a thumbs down that too, Mr. Blacker. Like, I liked Wade Barrett, but the guy.
Well, I mean, yeah, as the guy, and I didn't say anything about Mr. Kennedy, but I think Mr. Kennedy looks like the default create-a character in WWE 2K video games. You put a little.
Oh my God, that you could never be more right.
So no, I do not think Mr. Kennedy deserves to be World Heavyweight Champion. Was he good?
He
in the
was
ring?
better than Wade Barrett.
I don't know.
Yeah, he was better than Wade Barrett.
Do.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Now,
Wade Barrett is an A+ announcer.
A+. I'll give you that.
Takeover, he did a spectacular job.
I mean, when you talk like this all the time, and
I guarantee you he'll be wrestling in NXT before too long.
Oh, I hope so.
And you know what? Once again, but that's the point about this being each of our own lists is the dissension.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't be fun if we just all co-signed it.
Champion.
And by the way, everybody who's in the chat, if you could think of somebody who has never been a world champion in WCW or WWE, throw them in the chat. We want to see your answers.
Yeah, we want to know. Like, this is an interactive show. Please tell us who you think, whether you disagree or agree with our list. Like,
Absolutely.
Let's hang on.
Hey, should I open this?
Yes.
No. All right, fuck. I was trying to spare us him getting even meaner at you, but okay.
All right, Lunchbox, give me your number 7.
8. I'm on number 8. You're on number 7.
All right, give it to me.
My number 8 is one of my favorite big men in wrestling. Dude was light on his feet, tough as nails. He competed in some of the toughest matches both in WCW and WWF. He systematically picked apart the entire Heenan family. He went from being an evil person to a great person. This man was known by many names, including the Angel of Death, the Blacktop Bully. But you and I and Mr. Vanek all remember him primarily by one thing, and let me just tell you that if you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the lines and something, you'll serve hard time. You'll be serving hard times because the big boss man, Ray Traylor, should have been either a WCW or a WWF champion in his day. Dude was the best 300-plus pound big man to get down in the ring. His work with the Twin Towers was phenomenal. His work both as the big boss man in the blue with the shoulder strap as a heel was great.
That's the one-man gang, also known as Akeem.
Akeem the African Dream. Like, dude, when him and Dustin Rhodes did the King of the Road match, that shit was garbage, but not because they were garbage, because the concept was garbage. And then when he came back as part of the corporation's enforcer, he was still must-watch TV. And even though he is part of the cringiest segment in WrestleMania history where he was hung from Hell in the Cell, I still believe Ray Traylor could have been at bare minimum, transitional world champion, preferably in WCW. But I would have preferred him to Yokozuna. I'm just saying.
He had a better shot at being world champion in the NWA when he was Big Bubba Rogers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The guy can move. As a big guy, he can move. Yeah.
You'll thumbs up that one?
That's good shit.
I told you I thought hard about this list, dude. And you told me you didn't.
Well, yes and no. So you kind of mentioned my next one. I believe this is my number 6?
7.
Whatever. Number 7. All right, we're getting there, and then Vanek can join the conversation. So my number 7 is somebody you just mentioned. Or did you? I don't know. But he is a Rhodes. And he's not Cody Rhodes. And he's not Dusty Rhodes. I'm talking about Dustin Rhodes. Mr. Gold Dust himself. Should have been, at some point, a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Or even the natural Dustin Rhodes could have been a WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
He's one of my honorable mentions. But I have him listed as Gold Dust.
Yeah.
The longevity alone.
P.S. I met him at WrestleMania 31.
Nice.
Very nice guy. One of the best. And he was really happy that Dusty was coming to see him.
Aww.
And like I said, I'll co-sign that one in any of those iterations. The Natural could have definitely been a WCW champion. Gold Dust.
WA World Heavyweight Champion. And, he was United States champion. He was a television champion. And he was a World Tag Team champion with Barry Windham.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he was a tag team champion in WWE recently with R-Truth. He was also a multiple-time Intercontinental and Hardcore champion.
Oh, the Golden Truth was amazing.
The Golden Truth was amazing, dude.
His backlot brawl at WrestleMania with Rowdy Piper is one of the best matches in wrestling history.
I'll co-sign that.
Best? No. Entertaining? Yes.
No, that was a 4.5 star match.
Yeah, dude. No, I disagree. It wasn't just entertaining. It was good.
All right. Thank you, Dave Meltzer. So, Mr. Lunchbox,
Dude, I smoked weed with Dave Meltzer.
You better get that book writing, man. Called "I Smoked Weed With" by Mike Vanek.
I would pick that up. I would so happily pick that up. All right. I'll just go ahead and take initiative. My number 7.
Oh shit. Okay.
Nobody's going to be surprised at this one. They're really not. This guy made his bones as a tag team wrestler, one half of, one of the most iconic duos of history. This guy went through some of the worst bullshit that anyone could do, and they exploited it on TV, and he made it for great TV. This guy was at the lowest of the lows and wrestled in the Atwater Civic Center with JoJo, Martina, and Bobby Hart in attendance. And then this guy went on to TNA to not only make us watch TNA for the first time in 3 years, but become the biggest thing in wrestling. This guy on any given night could have the best match on the card with anybody, from opening WrestleMania with Rey Mysterio to dropping a leg drop off the cage onto Edge's face, to going and shooting fireworks at his brother across the ring at his own house. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, in any iteration, Matt Hardy.
Okay, you actually stole my next one, so...
My God.
In perfect placement, the Matt Hardy was actually going to be mine, so I gotta mark him off the list. And
we knew that would happen.
Broken Matt Hardy is one of the best fucking characters in the last 10 years.
And what's funny is you hated it at first.
I really did. I did not like it at all.
Like, you were telling me Matt Hardy's on drugs. Like, what the fuck? This is the worst shit I've ever seen. And I remember I watched it at JoJo's house smoking joints. And JoJo's just like, oh.
Changed my opinion about Matt Hardy. Jeremy Borash produced that Broken Compound thing and The Undertaker versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Jeremy Borash is a fucking wrestling genius, and he doesn't get enough credit.
I'm just saying, man, the commitment to the character when Matt Hardy did the Talk is Jericho episode, and he would not back down.
Now,
what?
Full character the whole time.
The whole time. And when Jericho called him out on it, he was like, this is not a character. This is my mortal vessel. My soul was originated in 777 AD. Like, oh my God, dude, the commitment. And when have you heard a better explosion than when the Hardys returned at that one WrestleMania?
Now, let me ask you this question.
That was a Road Warrior pop.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think Matt Hardy should have been a world champion when he was just Matt Hardy version 2 or V2?
No, Matt Hardy should have got a world championship run when they brought him back. That's broken Matt Hardy.
Which was a year too late, by the way.
It doesn't matter.
A year too late.
It doesn't matter. If he came back to the WWE tomorrow, I would buy Matt Hardy as a champion. Because Matt Hardy, you know, the saying that JR always used to use was, Jeff Hardy is the sizzle, but Matt Hardy is the steak. And if you look...
did himself a disservice by not making Matt Hardy a world champion. When I saw Matt Hardy fucking running after the 24/7 championship, I was embarrassed for him.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Hardy, if you think back to him opening the show with Rey Mysterio in Seattle, my God. Matt 2.0, Mattitude. I was a little MF for motherfucker. Like, straight up. Like, Matt Hardy is, and until he steps away, will always be phenomenal.
And Jordan Harrison says Matt Hardy is a cutie pie.
My wife prefers Matt to Jeff, too.
and he's one hell of a fucking wrestling trainer.
He seems like it. You know, he really helps those behind him.
No doubt about it. I give a thumbs up for that. That is good shit. And it was also next on my list, but I will give you another one.
Well, I was going to say, because that brings you into number 5 territory.
Absolutely.
Do you want to throw in one of your honorable mentions, or do you just want me to go ahead and throw out my number 6 so we can make this a 3-way dance and bring in Mike Vanek? This is like War Games of fucking podcasting.
All right, I'll give you an honorable mention real quick. One honorable mention that I feel should have been pushed higher than he has ever been in his entire WWE career. Specifically, he's done some great things in other promotions, but in WWE, even today, he's not as good as he should be. I'm talking about Johnny, whatever his name is. I'm talking about Johnny Mundo, Johnny Nitro.
100%.
John Morrison.
Trained at the SPW Academy in Sacramento. That trained Timothy Thatcher. Fucking JR Kratos is in New Japan. And probably a half a dozen other wrestlers that have been in, Thunder Rosa wrestled there. Dude.
Hold on. What did you just say? He creamed himself? I don't know what you said.
Dude, I've been drinking. You're really going to ask me questions like that?
Jordan, Daniel Bryan has been a multiple world champion. I think you're missing
multiple times.
Yes, and by the way, American Dragon Daniel Bryan was the best wrestler ever.
Yeah.
He was the ROH World Champion, dude. That was the best Daniel Bryan.
We're not talking about that.
So that's one of my honorable mentions. John Morrison. John Morrison should have been a world champion.
I don't know if fucker's awake, but I'm drinking Portuguese wine.
No, she's not, but I'll raise my beer to John Morrison.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Give me one.
My number 6. This guy was a multiple-time world tag team champion. He went back and forth between different promotions. He started cutting his teeth up in Montreal, was trained out of the Dungeon by Stu Hart. And he was actually considered the Jannetty of the tag team he was in.
Oh, okay.
But yet, he went on to higher singles success than anybody ever anticipated. Ladies and gentlemen, my vote for should have won the big one on number 6. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
The Dynamite Kid should be on that list.
No, because Dynamite Kid, when it came to his WWF career, got hurt before he was ever able to be any sort of a single star. So he did not count. I'm with you. Tragedy.
Against Tiger Mask and tell me you cannot work the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I'm telling you, it's tragic that his career was cut so short. But most of his career was cut short because of his own doing. However, Davey Boy, whose life was also tragically cut short, was in the biggest event in Wembley Stadium.
Rest in peace, Chris Benoit.
Oh. Yeah, no doubt, but we're not talking about Chris Benoit right now.
You know I got mentioned.
And he was a multiple-time world champion. But Davey Boy Smith was his match with Bret Hart at for the Intercontinental title at Wembley, where he pinned Bret off the victory roll.
SummerSlam.
That was world title caliber shit.
Probably
but yet, it was for the IC title.
Ever. By the way, SummerSlam 89, main event, Zeus.
Was garbage.
Dude, that's my favorite pay-per-view ever. I had that on VHS.
So I'm gonna have you guys go into your next one. I'm gonna do something I've never done in 92 episodes. I'm gonna go take a piss.
No problem, dude. All right, so, Mike Vanny.
So while he's peeing, I need to go back to last week and say, there's plenty of coke at the Hotel Palm
Garden. Such a cracked out place. I can't feel my face. They're selling coke from the second story at the Palm Garden.
All right, so, real
Mike
quick.
Vanny.
Yes.
Would you like to go ahead and start the dance by giving your number 5 should have been the champion?
My number 5 should have been the champion is Mr. Arn Anderson. By the way, I love his podcast.
It's a great story, but it's kind of boring.
Yeah, it's hella boring, but when you're high, it's cool, dude.
No, it's one of those things, if you're doing the dishes or something, it's cool to put on and listen to and just kind of zone out, because he does have some good stories, but it really is your 112-year-old grandpa telling you about, when I was in Shelbyville, we tied an onion to our belt, as was the style at the time.
He's the Conrad podcast that you watch while you're doing the laundry or the dishes or whatever. But anyways, dude, Arn Anderson was Ric Flair's number 2 for years. And the Brain Busters are quite possibly in the conversation of the top 20 fucking tag teams of all time in the
top 10 easily.
Oh, bro. Speaking of SummerSlam '89, but Arn Anderson is probably, dude, he is one of the most respected workers in wrestling history, and he has a wealth of knowledge that could never be matched.
Agree.
We talk about Arn.
Arn is Mike Vanek's number 5.
Also, dude, Spinebuster. On 2K, that's one of my finishers. I'm telling you. Probably.
No, he was the first guy to bring it.
Underrated promos of all time.
His promos were so good, almost because of somebody else on my list, that he didn't really yell, scream. He just kind of talked to you.
The perfect tag team wrestler. Larry Zbyszko. The list goes on. Tully Blanchard. Barry Windham, dude. You could put Arn Anderson in a tag team with a broom and they'd be world tag team champion.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's a reason why the Revival is basically an updated version of the Brainbusters.
All right, go ahead, because my next one's really good.
Okay, so I think it's my turn, right?
Yours or mine, your choice.
All right, I'll take it. So, somebody that I believe should have been the top of the world, even just for a short time. Ooh, before I get to that, Roger says Adrian Adonis.
No.
I
love adorable Adrian Adonis. Mike Shaw was a phenomenal worker, but world champion? No.
He was much better in a tag team with Jesse Ventura.
Dude, adorable Adrian Adonis was a fucking killer character. Fucked up how they portray
that whole angle with Rowdy Piper at WrestleMania 3 was awesome.
Gold.
Yeah.
Sadly, a sign of the times. You could not get away with that shit nowadays.
No.
But Adrian Adonis was badass.
Yeah, totally.
So at the time, it would have made a whole hell of a lot of sense for my pick to be world champion. He looked the part. He is the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock.
He's
one of us. He's from Livermore.
I know.
Lockford. Lockford.
Hella good sausage.
So, you know what, dude? I can agree with that because when I saw Ken Shamrock show up, I was a big fan of the early UFCs. And Ken Shamrock in UFC was the one who couldn't win the big one. Yeah. So it's only fitting that he falls on this list, too. You know, it was just...
Was he the first European champion?
He was not. I think that was the British Bulldog.
This makes for riveting podcast television right here. Mike Vanek just coughing on camera.
Ken Shamrock. I like I said, I'll raise my taco truck beer to that. You know, Ken Shamrock is somebody that I actually considered putting on my list, but he didn't quite make my honorable mentions just because I fucking laid it down. Like I had to really put in some work on knocking people off my list. So I'm with it.
All right, give me your next one, man, because Ken Shamrock would have made a hell of a champion. He could have been the Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar.
You know, I agreed, except for he's not quite as big.
True.
You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong. In the original days of UFC, Ken Shamrock was the guy who looked like he should be the badass and beating everybody. And he wore the same trunks that he wore in wrestling to the octagon. And the same boots, if I'm not mistaken. What?
His brother was way better.
Frank Shamrock?
Frank was a better fighter. But Ken was a better personality.
Agreed. Give me your next one, sir, and then we'll go to Mike.
All right, my number 5. No surprise here. This is probably going to steal at least one off one of your lists. This guy was the greatest heel that naturally became a babyface ever in wrestling history. This guy ruled the 80s and early 90s. He was great in WCW. He was great on the commentator booth in WWE, or WWF rather. He was instrumental in WrestleManias 6, 5, 1, but most notably WrestleMania 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Roddy Piper.
And he was, once again, my next pick.
Mike Vanek, was he on your list?
Yeah, and he's high, so I'm gonna wait till I get there. Because
no, we plucked him.
All right, well, he's my number 1.
Okay. You know what? I'm not mad at that.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because number 1, I had his LJN. Number 2, WrestleMania 1, that was pretty much my introduction to wrestling. I got to go to the Fox Theater in Oakland when it was still a movie theater and watch WrestleMania 1.
Oh, no shit!
That's dope.
And I'm like holding back the tears thinking about it. Also, I saw WrestleMania 3 at the Oakland Coliseum.
Please cry on camera.
Yeah, please cry. That's good. That's good podcasting. You know what, man? This one was tough, and that's where you'll see where I really get. I told you guys, I put a lot of thought into this list, and these top 5, like Brandon, I said top 5. Brandon was like, dude, we have to do 10. We have to. There's so many people.
If you would have given me time, I could have came up with 30.
Oh yeah. But that's, otherwise that would have had to have been 100% its own 2 or 3 episodes.
And I'm very happy that you guys picked this list, and I'm changing my number 3 to my number 1 because you guys picked Rowdy Piper.
Okay.
So Rowdy Piper, like somebody else that we're probably going to mention, like somebody else we're probably going to mention here in a few minutes, didn't need a title, but
didn't need it.
If you gave him a world title, he would elevate it for sure. The shit talking that he would do would be amazing.
He didn't want to lose to Hogan on TV. He didn't want to be the guy that lost to Hogan. Hogan would have gave him the title, but he didn't want to. He refused to lose to Hogan. He wanted to be the one. He was the one guy Hogan would let him beat.
Yeah. Oh my God! Could you imagine if that spanned like 2-3 years? That feud.
He would have
shit.
5-time world champion. Hogan would have just gave him the belt. Hogan would have made movies earlier if Roddy Piper would have done the favors.
Definitely, but I mean that would have cost us the Mega Powers explode and things like that. But no,
WrestleMania 5 was fucking awesome. I thank Rowdy Piper for not doing that.
Oh God, yeah. The Piper's Pit segment on that is the best shit, and that's including that incredible main event. But no, man. I mean, it's just like I listed all the WrestleManias he was involved in. I listed everything he did, and let's not forget him putting Hogan to sleep with a sleeper at Halloween Havoc.
Hurry up. Number 4 is awesome.
Like, Roddy Piper was the shit, man. And if he's not on this top 5-year list, which he got on both years, one of you even got number 1.
He should be on the top.
We could do a show together.
Roddy Piper is Rushmore of heels. Easy.
Yeah. All day.
Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, and you pick the other 2.
All right, Mike Vanek, number 4.
Owen Hart.
Damn it.
Fuck you! You took my number 2.
You took my number 1.
Oh!
Owen Hart should have won the WWE Championship at that WrestleMania with Bret Hart. I would have much rather seen that as the main event.
I wish he would have won it a year later. Like, that was another one of those feuds that could have made it a year.
I think Bret should have done the favors for his brother, and when I met him, he agreed with me.
Yeah, but you know what? Bret did. Remember at WrestleMania 10, Bret did take a clean pin from Owen.
Yep.
Yeah, but it would have been way cooler if he would have handed the belt to his brother.
No doubt. But like I said, I felt like that match.
Also, the Owen Hart
of a year.
The Owen Hart Dark Side of the Ring is one of the best.
Oh God. Oh, wonderful show, wonderful episode. I mean, not wonderful. It's terrible.
Also,
it's emotional.
Also, I watched that live.
Me too.
And
same.
And I cried like a girl.
Oh, Owen Hart's death.
Yeah.
I watched it live too.
Yeah, so did I.
Dude.
I think that was when everybody watched every pay-per-view. But man, like, no surprise there.
I watched it back several times, and you got bad for the King and Jerry, man. That's got to be the worst job ever.
Yeah, like you said. Oh, by the way, Owen's dead. You were live in 10, 9. I mean, yeah.
And I have JR's book, Under the Black Hat, and he talks about that. And Jerry the King Lawler, nudges him on the shoulder and says, "Hey, look at that." And it's Owen Hart falling.
Well, and he probably didn't even realize that that's what it was. He just saw something happening. But no, man, the fact that that was a double steal, just like mine was. Like I said, this is where this list gets fun to me.
By the way, after the Royal Rumble in Sacramento, he was one of the very few wrestlers that would stop and talk to the fans at the back door.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, supposedly he was the kind of guy that he didn't spend money on hotels. He couched it. Yeah. He made friends with fans and couched it.
Also, if you're friends with Marcus Mack from APW, you'll see pictures of them fucking hanging out. And, you know.
Yeah, he was just a family guy. He was just a regular dude who happened to have a job on TV.
And was great at it.
Yes. I am not a nugget is one of my favorite wrestling sayings I've ever heard.
Also,
if you go and out from under your leg, Frank.
Stampede Wrestling, Owen Hart was doing fucking luchador moves before anybody was.
Yeah, go back and what we already talked about WrestleMania 5. Go back and watch the Blue Blazer and Mr. Perfect.
Dude, go on YouTube and watch Stampede Wrestling. Owen Hart's early work and his stuff in Japan and Mexico is awesome, dude.
Awesome.
You said Mr. Perfect. Just a random fact. If you go on YouTube, you could actually see Brock Lesnar's first non-televised match on YouTube versus Mr. Perfect. And Mr. Perfect beats him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting turn of affairs. But anyways, yes, Owen Hart deserves to be on any list about being a world champion.
Should have been. What if?
Yeah.
All right. So we Vanek's number 4 stole my 2 and your number 1. So I stole your number 4, right? With Piper?
I already know who's going to be next.
I know who Dave's is going to be next. And it's the reason why I left that individual off my list. Not because he didn't deserve to be there, but just because I knew you were going to pick him. So, my next one, I believe it's
4.
4? No, I'm at number 2.
No, I stole your 4.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm at number 2 now. Uh-oh. He just had to pee real quick.
Okay, you've got 2 left. Go ahead.
Okay.
We kept going while you peed.
Yeah. So, I forgot to mention this one earlier. This should have been much earlier on my list. But somebody I saw, or I've seen, that should have been world champion at least once was the King of Swing, Cesaro.
Okay. Oh, so you're just throwing an honorable mention.
No. He's on my list. He should have been earlier, but I forgot to mention him earlier. Like I said, I didn't have these in numerical order, so I missed him. He shouldn't.
See, like I told you, dude, I grinded myself about this one. I took this one as real homework. I prepped for the show for once.
But Cesaro is much like a Miro or a Rusev, where you realize that the guy has loads and loads and loads of personality, but he's not allowed to show it. He kind of showed it a little bit when he was teamed up with Sheamus in a tag team. He started to show his personality and his charisma and the fact that he could talk on camera. But if they gave him more of an opportunity as a single star, he could have been a world champion. And if you missed it, Mike,
when he was with Paul Heyman,
that too. You know, he was strong. I looked just like Jason Statham. Like
he can move. He's believably strong. I'm with you. He checks all the boxes.
He's the best Evolve world champion of all time.
The only reason why I feel like that's a disqualification. He's still wrestling.
Yeah, he could be world champion.
Probably not, but he could be.
When he leaves WWE.
He could do it there. If Jinder Mahal could do it in WWE, so could Cesaro.
Oh, man.
I see being an Impact world champion.
So, are we going to make an honorable mention Heath Slater?
No, but I hope the best for him and his 19 kids in above ground pool.
I absolutely love Heath, and I hope he's a champion someday.
I love Heath, but he's not a world champion.
No.
He's got more talent than Vince let him show on TV.
I thought Mike was about to say, I sold Heath Slater weed.
No, he sold Heath Slater's kids weed. All right. All right, so I guess I'm at number 4.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, I guess I'm at number 4.
I don't know where we're at. I have one more left.
Yeah, you're down to your last one. I've got 1, 2, and 3. I've got my number 1, 3, and 4 left. So I'll go ahead and throw. Yeah, we keep stealing from each other. I'm gonna throw, and we knew that would happen at this point in the list.
Yes.
So I'm gonna throw out my number 4. Number 4. This guy was in WCW, was an okay mid-carder, came to WWE, became the king of the mid-carders. Could have been a world champion, went back to WCW, and even though he was part of the biggest moments in WCW, he never won the big one in either federation. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 4 is the one and only Razor Ramon, better known as Scott Hall. Chico.
That's my number 2. Okay.
Really, Brandon?
Number 2. I have a new number 2.
No, I want to hear Brandon's problem here.
I personally think Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, was exactly where he needed to be.
Dude!
I couldn't see him. I couldn't see him for some reason being a world champion, Intercontinental champion. Perfect spot, but
multiple times.
Yeah, but I couldn't see him as the world champion at the time that he was there. And I'm not even going to mention his run with the NWO because, he was barely a wrestler. He was more of a personality at that point.
But he was still the first.
Shit. Watch more fucking goddamn fucking TV that's on the goddamn WWE network. Fucking Scott Hall in the NWA.
Oh,
Scott.
I know.
Scott Hall in the 80s was a motherfucker.
Okay, but
he wrestled in Memphis. He wrestled in Minnesota.
Right,
he wrestled in Georgia.
Mike. I was specifically talking about when he was in WCW after his WWE run.
Which no, dude. Like, why was he always the bridesmaid and never the bride? Like, he was the kickoff.
Time world champion, fucking tag team champion.
He was. But I'm saying he was the kickoff. He was the first one to show up and introduce the concept of the invasion.
They were tag champions the majority of the time they were in the company.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't equate to world heavyweight champion though. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, like he was the first shot fired across the bow. He was, and dude, Razor Ramon's work. Oh my God, his matches with Michaels, Bret Hart, Diesel, 1, 2, 3 Kid. This motherfucker made Sean Waltman.
Yeah, but this is what I'm looking at.
Okay, hang on. I gotta hear Brent. Like, seriously, I'm hurt that this is the first time we haven't stole off each other's top 5 in the whole top 5.
All right, this is what I'm looking at here. So, did I like Razor Ramon and Scott Hall? Yes. Did I ever personally see him as world champion? No, because this is what I would see. Hello, I am Razor Ramon, and I am your world champion, Chico. Like, it is boring.
Bullshit, dude. His vignettes, the introduction to Razor Ramon was the best fucking thing WWE had done in years at that point.
Yeah,
oh my God,
put him on a mic.
Spit the pear in that guy's face.
Dude,
what he
that
did
Royal
in the NWO
Rumble
was fine, but put him on a mic, he was boring as shit.
He was better than
Royal Rumble in Sacramento was one of the best Royal Rumbles ever because of that main event with fucking Bret and fucking Chico. I'm telling you. And when I met Bret Hart, that's what I talked to him about, and it was fucking awesome. And I have his autograph picture upstairs.
All right. How many? Who's got how many left? Because I've got 2.
I've got 1.
I got 2 left.
All right. I say go ahead, Mike Vanek.
My next one is the former AWA World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig. And I'm
Fuck
telling
you, Mike Vanek. Fuck you. You took my number one.
I'm telling you right now, he is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my whole life. Kurt Hennig.
Damn you.
Kurt Hennig was a G in the ring. And when they brought him out and he shot the free throw and it went in, and he shot the putt and it went in. Dude, when I was 10 years old, that was the baddest shit ever.
No, dude.
Fucking Kurt Hennig was the best wrestler. He was a better in-ring wrestler than Ric Flair.
Than anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody.
Dude, he taught everybody on the roster how to be better. And his match with Bret Hart are some of the best wrestling matches ever recorded.
I was so fucking happy that nobody seemed to be latching on and stealing my number one. And I didn't bank on fucking tagging you in. Fuck you, Mike. Did he steal your last one too, Brandon?
No.
You're never gonna guess my number one.
Mine is more anticlimactic than your guys's. So.
Ouch, dude! Like I was so mad because everybody seemed to be ignoring him. Like no, 100%. You know, Mike, you went back and talked to Bret Hart. You know, I met Bret Hart and got his book signed and all that good stuff. And I asked him, who's the best wrestler you've ever been in the ring with? And he looks at me and goes, if I could have 5 minutes, man. 5 more minutes with any single wrestler in the world, ever, it'd have been Kurt Hennig. I never said I was better than Kurt Hennig. And I looked at him and go, you want to know something? And he goes, you knew that? And I was like, yeah. You said that on something already, didn't you? He's like, yep. And I'm like, I don't get another question, do I? And he goes, no, I'm sorry.
My favorite wrestling matches ever are Bret Hart versus Kurt Hennig.
Yeah. They're Intercontinental title matches. Everything Mr. Perfect touched, dude.
I've seen wrestling from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s till now. And I'm telling you, Bret Hart versus fucking Kurt Hennig is a perfect wrestling match.
Yes. Yes.
And speaking of Kurt Hennig, like everyone wants to compare Dolph Ziggler to Shawn Michaels. No. All he has is a super kick. I consider Dolph Ziggler a modern day Mr. Perfect.
No.
And
no.
I think
because he's got the hair, but Dolph Ziggler's not what Mr. Perfect said he was.
And he was character. I'm talking about in-ring ability.
But Dolph Ziggler was world champion.
I'm not choosing Dolph Ziggler. I'm just saying
Dolph Ziggler had that over Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, but you know what? Dolph Ziggler, in my opinion, is as
even though he was
in the ring, no doubt. In the ring, I'm not arguing.
No, he was a transitional world champion, but you know he was a world champion, and Kurt Hennig wasn't.
No, I get what you're saying there, but I can't. And to your point, Brandon, I can't agree with that. Just because Mr. Hennig, Mr. Perfect was equally good on the ring, in the mic, in the ring, on the mic. Like, it didn't matter. He was so good in both ways. Dolph Ziggler is an ace in the ring, but he sucks on the fucking mic, dude. Like, yeah, it is the most canned, forced shit, like, ever.
Well,
like, ever. All right. We're all down to our last one.
Hold on. Dolph Ziggler is one of the best amateur wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
And he is in the Amateur Wrestling Hall of Fame. He's in the Dan Gable Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
No, he knew that already.
All I know about is wrestling. All I watch is wrestling. I don't watch TV. I watch wrestling and Slayer videos on YouTube.
Slayer.
Fuck you, Dave.
All right.
Fucking Angel of Death, and he's sitting on the fucking dumpster.
I'll go first for my number one, because my number one is definitely not going to be as good as both of your guys's. So
you're never gonna guess my number one.
No, but my number one is somebody who, yes, is still wrestling today. Somebody who should have been, and this is not a rule we made, So don't give me that look.
I just figured,
No, just because
they're still wrestling.
That doesn't.
It could still happen.
It won't happen. It won't happen. It has passed them by. Somebody who came out and had a huge reaction, was over like Rover for a couple years. Man, Shinsuke Nakamura.
All right.
Should
wait. Oh. He's been world champion, hasn't he?
Nope.
You're right. We did not disqualify NXT titles.
Nope. So.
No. And can I just tell you, that's the biggest disappointment in wrestling. AJ did the favors for him.
Yep. For the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
And by the way, that Wrestle Kingdom.
Mike Vanek, shut up and let Brandon deliver his spiel.
This man, when he came in, the pop was incredible. He was the most over ever in NXT. When he came to the main roster, people lost their shit. He got that Road Warrior pop every single time. He had the song. He had the look. Now, he couldn't speak very good English if he was ever given a manager. He could have gone all the way. WWE, I mean, he came close. He won the goddamn Royal Rumble. But it's never going to happen again. You know, right now he's just kind of doing the coattails at this point. So
I agree entirely with you. Entirely.
You know what I'm doing?
The shovel, the burial.
I'm digging a hole because they buried Shinsuke Nakamura.
Like they do everybody else.
I think you're right on the language barrier thing, and I think that was the majority of it. Because in NXT, it didn't matter. We didn't care.
Paul Heyman made him world champion.
I'm just saying, we didn't care that he couldn't speak English in NXT. And then when he came up to the main roster, we still didn't care.
But with Paul Heyman.
Or even a Selena Vega. It wouldn't have mattered who they put with him.
Anybody that could talk for him.
Yeah. Like he could have essentially just been like a Prince character where he had a handler with him, and every time they like put a mic in front of him, he would just stand back and be like,
I would have liked to see Sonny Ono manage him.
Oh my god.
And I'm as serious as Sonny Ono would have been a perfect manager for Shinsuke Nakamura.
That would have been fun.
All right. So Mike Vanek.
That's my number one.
I'm with it, Brandon. Like I did want to complain that, but then again, Matt Hardy's still wrestling too.
Yep.
I would love to complain about that, but I can't fight it. And I actually forgot he was not a world champion on the main roster. So that was a nice fucking sneak shot in there. I like that. That's good strategy.
Oh shit! I have more. I have two more, and I'll make it.
No, you've got one more. You can't keep adding people. You fucking came to the dance with what you had. Fuck off. You have one more, and go ahead and unleash it. Make a decision.
All right. So honorable mentions to Goldust, Magnum TA, and Tito Santana.
Okay.
Arriba!
My number one has ran AAA for the last 25 years. My number one has probably one of the best podcasts out there about wrestling because it's just real shit. And fuck Disco Inferno. My number one is Conan.
Interesting.
Okay.
Conan is one of the best Mexican wrestlers of all time, and he's not even Mexican. He's like from like Cuba or some shit. He is one of the most unsung minds in wrestling history, and he has a lot of strings, including an ear with Vince McMahon. I want to tell you that Conan is very underrated when it comes to the wrestling industry. But I'm telling you right now, he's the manager for Rey Mysterio. Like, he does all Rey's business. And he runs AAA.
But you know what, dude? Like not to cut you off, but I'm gonna cut you off. Okay, he's a great mind. He's a solid wrestler. He's a great businessman. But really, number one,
he could have easily turned against Hulk Hogan and fucking beat him for the championship.
But I don't think I don't think anybody would have cared.
He could have easily beat Kevin Nash.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If Conan became world champion, do you think it would have been an Eddie Guerrero moment?
No, I think he would have been a transitional world champion, but he would have been a world champion twice or 3 times. And I think if Vince would have gave him a shot, he could have easily been an Intercontinental champion. You know what I mean? I love his.
Okay, so you're saying WCW world champion in late NWO era?
He could have been a Wolfpack era world champion.
Number one? Really?
He could have turned against Kevin Nash easily.
Number one?
I swear to God, he could have been a world champion. He is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Hey, no doubt. In AAA, he was the most over ever. Like, he was Elvis fucking Presley in AAA.
Yeah, straight up.
He's one of the few guys that's ever been AAA and CMLL and all their other fucking champions. He is over like fucking Rover, and he hasn't worn a mask in 30 years, and it's still one of the most popular masks of all time down there. When I went to Mexico City, dude, the Conan mask was like right next to the Rey Mysterio mask, and the Rey Mysterio mask is the most popular mask fucking you can buy. Every stand had Rey Mysterio masks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like wherever you went, there was Rey Mysterio masks. And when they do their thing, they do tributes to Rey Mysterio in the arena. It's crazy. He's a fucking god there.
Hey, Mike.
And Conan's right next to him.
Hey, Mike, did you sell weed to Conan?
No, but when I was
he's not in the book, Brent.
When I was in Mexico, I paid $40 American for the best weed I ever smoked in my whole life.
Hey, there you go. On that note, Lunchbox. Number 1. Give it to me.
You know, this is my actual number 3 since Mike Vanek stole my number 2 and number 1.
P.S. And by the way, thank you guys for letting me be on here.
Thanks for coming.
It was fun.
Okay, number 1, and I only think you left him off as a courtesy to me, Brandon.
I did.
I figured. My number 3 actually was the best heel of the early 80s, and then all of a sudden everybody just loved him. And we all realized everybody just loved him the whole time. It was then cut short due to drug abuse and physical, mental problems, culminating with, hey, at least he was the other guy on the end of the biggest moment in wrestling history when Austin 316 just whooped your ass. My number 1 never was world champion, but should have been.
Oh, my God.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, my God. Why isn't he on my list? Fuck, that's easily my number 1. Easily. Oh my God. Easily, you can argue him as the best promo in wrestling in that time.
Oh yeah. And his matches were slick too.
Dude, when that bit Randy Savage, I cried like a fucking girl.
So, yeah. I mean, I literally left him off my list because I knew he was going to be on yours, and it allowed me to be a little more flexible with mine.
Now, where would he have fallen on yours? Because by you saying that means you considered him.
Absolutely.
Where?
Have you guys watched the resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts?
Of course.
Yes.
really good movie. And I'm more, but we talked about Scott Hall earlier. The Scott Hall parts in that movie were fucking depressing as fuck. But if that movie doesn't uplift you, I don't know what can.
Mike Vanek, I'm trying to hear Brandon's, admission of where Jake Roberts would have been on his list. Would you kindly hold on a second?
Motherfucker, you guys are my only friends.
And if we were sitting in person next to each other, I told you the same thing.
Hey, would your only friends do this?
Just hang up on him or just turn his video off.
Turn the video off. Okay, just kidding. On my list, he would easily be top 3. In the top 3.
I appreciate you making sure that spot was open for me.
Yeah. An honorable mention. I took him off my list because I wasn't sure if he counted or not. But I was gonna add Christian on there as an honorable mention.
No, he was the world heavyweight champion.
What? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he held the big gold belt.
Oh, I thought that was the ECW title.
No. No, he wrestled for that, but he might have won that. But he did hold the heavyweight title for a while.
He was also an NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
But not when it mattered.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen...
Hold on. I got an honorable mention or two.
Okay, get it.
All right. Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Hey, you guys haven't mentioned any ECW wrestlers, so I need to throw out motherfucking Tommy Dreamer.
Okay.
Tommy worked his fucking ass off in fucking every company ever. Sure. And he is unsung for the work he did in the wrestling industry. I fucking love Tommy Dreamer.
I'll agree. It's hard not to love the everyman.
Y'all want some moonshine?
I wish.
It's good.
All right, you got another honorable mention, Brandon?
I do not actually. That was my list.
I got one more.
Go for it.
Rikishi.
Ooh.
Oh fuck, that's a good pick.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Do I ever really think like when we had to break it down to 10? Did he fall on that list for me? No, he did not. But there were those moments he was this close that you really thought, what if? What if the big fat man could be putting his butt in people's face in the main event of WrestleMania?
By the way, I have a Samoan Legacy t-shirt in the mail.
Awesome. Do you
and hold on. Earlier, when you guys were talking about the Samoans in the show, Roman Reigns, who's a piece of fucking shit because he made Bobby Hart's son fucking not want to be at WrestleMania because he wouldn't fucking take a picture with him.
He could have been having a bad day.
He's a heel.
Yeah, he just found out he wasn't winning at WrestleMania. Anyways, yeah, fuck Roman Reigns. You guys didn't mention the High Chief Peter Maivia, who wrestled in fucking Modesto and Los Banos at the high school gym. Look it up.
I will.
So I guarantee you, if you go on Wikipedia.com/Modesto, it's going to have Mike Vanek as head editor of the Wikipedia Modesto page because that's all he talks about. He left Modesto and he keeps talking about Modesto. Mike, shut up about Modesto.
Hey, there's 4 or 5 people. I think it'd be Mike Vanek, Joseph Rush, Minna Goodwin, Chris Ricky, and Richard Meeker.
Fuck yeah.
Maybe Mike Alsop too.
Oh man, I miss Mike Alsop's backyard parties.
Dude, I miss Mike Alsop. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Brandon.
Oh my God, did you ever get to party in Mike Alsop's backyard?
I did not, but we've got to kind of start bringing our show to our conclusion. So just because we're nice guys, our first guest, Mike Vanek, would you go ahead and tell us where they can hear about the wonderful things you write about?
MikeVanekSucks.blogspot.com is where you can see Mike Vanek Sucks blog. I have the 10 bands that I think you should hear coming out very soon. It's a lot of work. I picked out 10 bands, a lot of them that I toured with Moonshine Bandits, including Andrew W. Boss from Salt Lake City, and a lot of others. Fucking dude, it's coming out soon. It's taking me a lot of work to do, but it's going to be awesome. It's the 10 bands I picked here. You can buy Mike Van Accepts merchandise at tpublic.com. And please help me out because it's Christmas time and I got grandkids now, dude. So, help me out and support. And thank you very much for letting me be on here. And I love you guys' podcast. And anything I can do to help you guys out, you just let me know.
All right, thank you, Mike. Lunchbox, where can they find you, sir?
They can find me at Nothing But Losers on Facebook. They can find me at Nothing But Losers on Instagram, Nothing But Loser on Twitter. That is no S. You can also find me personally at the Almighty Lunchbox on Instagram. Loser Lunchbox on Twitter, though I'm rarely there. And also Dave, that is Daveussery on Facebook. Come say hi, man. I'm pretty personable. Brandon, what about you?
Hey, man, you can find me on The Real Brandon Blacker on Instagram. Find my band Suburban Paranoia on all social media platforms. And check out on Twitch, December 19th, we are playing the Krampus Christmas Special brought to you by Brian Sticks Tips. And, go check out Hauntless.com. Go put in I Am the Boss for your next order, and you get a nice significant discount on that order by putting in my affiliate code, I Am the Boss. So, with that being said...
Wait, hold on. When the blood flows up the walls and the mountains of doom collide, you will know that the only one that can save you is Satanic Mike Manning. Call your friends, call your neighbors, call anybody in the phone book that'll listen to the sound of your voice and tell them, hey man, you guys should check out the the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box podcast.
And that's right. And you know where you can check out Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box podcast? You can check us out at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box on Facebook. Make sure you join the Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box Facebook discussion group where we shitpost memes, both wrestling, Simpsons, music, comic books, and all that other bullshit we like to talk about all day long. You can find us on Instagram at Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. You can find us on Twitter at Talking_Shop. But most importantly, for the moment, you can join us Monday nights at 8 p.m. on YouTube for Talking Shop with the Boss in the Box. I am one half of your humble co-host duo, the Lunchbox, one word, capital L, capital B. Thank you very much. And I am always thanking you for Brandon 3B, the Boss Blacker.
Disgusting, nothing fucking advertise.
And just to let you guys know, we will not be having shows the next 2 weeks because of the Christmas season. So we will see you in January.
I gotta wait 2 weeks to have friends.
Maybe. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Donate to the show. Venmo, Boss in the Box. Venmo us money on Boss in the Box. Also, there's a link in the description right now where you can actually go and... Shut up, Mike. Go and donate as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for checking out episode 92. We will see you in 2 weeks. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and we'll see you next time.